ready for bed at a regular time is one of the most important habits you can learn.
Who you gonna call?
Ghostface! Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Oh, Lori, scared another one away.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back.
We are counselors at Hackett's Quarry Summer Camp. There is a swarm of bears.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
No! Glenn! Help! Somebody help me, please!
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you.
It's showtime.
Hello, and welcome back to another fabulous and wonderful episode of the Screen Stream. Now, we are on episode 36, and I know, guys, it's been a minute. I promised a week vacation. I went for 2 for the podcast, but, see, what happened was, last Monday, I planned on doing this podcast in particular, and then my roommate decided that laundry was more important, even though he had the entire weekend to do it. He thought Monday, the day I decided to record this, was the most appropriate time to do this, so he didn't get done until about 11:30. Tuesday, I wound up being just too exhausted from work because we had an entire meeting that lasted about 6 o'clock at night. It was fucking ridiculous. Wednesday, I ended up playing DBD with a friend of mine who I haven't played in a year, so I couldn't miss that opportunity. Thursday, I was editing. Friday, I played more games with her because, you know, why not? It's been a year. Might as well enjoy this time while we can until something comes up, and I won't see her for another year, even though we work together. It's that hard to play as an adult. Then Saturday came. And that's when I found out Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out that Friday. So I ended up spending most of the day playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre with my boyfriend and with my buddy Bidwell. So, yeah, by the time Monday rolled around, I was too busy editing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So finally, we're here on Tuesday night. It's a Tuesday night, but I'm finally here. We're gonna finally discuss it. But we're talking about Scream 3, the assembly cut, versus the theatrical cut of Scream 3 that we got. Now I know what you're thinking, Amanda. What the hell is a versus thing? I really don't do a lot of versus thing. I think I did one other versus moment, which was Resident Evil 4 versus Resident Evil 4's remake. So, same formula still applies. We're not going to go into like a lot of magical fun facts like I do let me phrase that. Like I always do for a lot of my normal movie reviews where I go through it, you know, scene by scene to talk about what I liked, didn't like, the lighting and all that shit. We're going to be talking about, in this particular one, because the version of the assembly cut that has been going around, I know if you haven't seen it, definitely get your hands on it. It's somewhere floating around the internet. You can find it. Trust me, if you know how to Google, you can find it. But the particular version, some of the audio is a little fucked up, and of course it's in black and white. So I can't really compare it like that. So I thought a versus thing would be a lot more interesting, so we could see what made the assembly cut different from the theatrical cut. What did they change? What did they add? What did they take away? Because we all know that when it came to Scream 3, it had its own issues. Granted, not some of the bigger issues like Scream 2 had, but it has some issues that set it back. And I'm not just talking about bad writing or the choppy editing, but the fact that they pre-planned for the script to be leaked out like Scream 2 was. So they had, I think, 3 different scripts floating around. And I want to say, from what I've heard from my buddy Bidwell and a few others, there was another cut of this movie where Angelique is the second killer. And I'm going to be honest, I would die to see that version, because even after watching the assembly cut, I feel like adding Angelique as the secondary killer would have fit better. It totally really would. Like, there are scenes in the assembly cut that adds more, more to that unfortunately we don't get to see, because in the assembly cut it's still just Raymond as the killer, just single solo Raymond. And the problem with that is for one, I never liked the fact that not Raymond, Roman, his name is Roman. Why am I thinking Raymond? Damn it, man, I have no idea. But Roman. Okay, guys, I'm not gonna keep it any secret. Anybody who's seen the Scream 3 ranking video I did of all the Scream movies knows that Scream 3 is my least favorite of the bunch. I didn't like the kills, I didn't like the acting, I didn't like a lot of the writing, I didn't like some of the editing choices, I did not like what they did to my buddy Ghostface, and I'm gonna be honest, when it came to the assembly cut, I liked it. 100%, I liked it. I liked it, which is very shocking. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. But the assembly cut actually made more sense. And like I said, if they would have kept the Angelique being the secondary killer, that would have been cool. Because again, I don't like the fact that Roman is a single killer. Like, it even goes up against some of the things he says in the movie. I want to say, I know in the assembly cut, he states that he told Billy, hey, I'm the one that showed Billy the movies. He wasn't fond of my movies about your mom. So all he needs is a few pointers, a partner to fall on in case he got caught, someone to frame. And I find that weird that he stated these rules that he gave to Billy in the first movie, but never followed through himself with the same rules. Yeah, no, I don't buy it. This is why I think the Angelique being the secondary killer would definitely work. And the fact it would make sense, they did film her, especially in the assembly cut, being super fucking sketchy. Like, there are some scenes they added in that makes her just look suspicious. Like, very suspicious. And it makes me think, it definitely could have been her. Like, she has the motive, she has the reasoning, and I know what y'all thinking. What's the motives? What's the reasoning? The fact that she said that she fucked, her exact words too, I fucked that pig Mildred to get this role, and I'm not going to sit here and die with second-rate celebrities like you two. So she fucked her way into this role, and of course she idolizes Sydney. She even says that in the assembly cut, she says she idolizes Sydney, and that I think the exact piece of dialogue she said was, the 90s were the victim age and you were the poster child? Something like that. We'll get there when we get there. But yeah, you could definitely tell, especially in the assembly cut, that Angelique being the secondary killer really would have fit in. Even though in the theatrical cut, they kind of maybe hinted at it or something like that. But I really wish they would have followed through. I would love to see a copy, or at least a cut of the assembly cut, with the Angelique being the secondary killer. That would be fucking cool. But unfortunately, we're not talking about I don't want to say it's not real, because I'm sure there's a cut around here somewhere in the world that has that. But we're not talking about that particular version. We're talking about this particular assembly cut. And I'm gonna be honest, guys. Like I said, it's great. It's great. I love what they did with it. I like where they took Gail and Dewey's relationship. Like, there's a lot more to it. I love what they did with Sydney. Like, there's some things about Sydney that actually fits so much better in the assembly cut than it did in the theatrical cut, that I very much appreciate. But especially her, like, spiraling in despair and being very distraught about the killings. It fits so well in the assembly cut. And the theatrical cut, it just seems like she's angry. She's like, oh my God, we're doing this again, and she's got mommy issues. Mommy issues was one of the biggest things I had a problem with this movie. Everybody had fucking mommy issues. Sydney had mommy issues. Roman had mommy issues. Like, the amount of times that man said the word mother was ridiculous. I had to go scene by scene to compare this, and I did this for you guys, so y'all can know what exactly changed between the theatrical cut and this assembly cut. So I went scene by scene, almost line by line, to see what was different. And by golly, Miss Molly, the amount of times he said Mother. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. But they took away a lot of that aspect for him. So he still has mommy issues, but it's not like painted all over the walls over here. Like, mainly it feels like he's more gunning towards Sydney. Like, he's just angry with Sydney. He has nothing to do with his mother. Like, he's mad about his mother, yeah, but he's mainly mad at Sydney. He's targeting Sydney, and there are scenes, like, there's a great scene I love, and it pisses me off that they cut this scene out of the movie. But it was such a great scene. It's such a great scene. But we'll get there when we get there. But they did Ghostface amazing in this assembly cut. Like, he feels terrifying. Like, oh, excuse me. Like, y'all know how in, like, Scream 6, he's very aggressive and taunty and shit? Same thing here. Same fucking thing here. Oh, God, I really wish they would have kept that shit. Like, top notch. But everything about this assembly cut is done really, really well. Editing choice wise, screen wise, some of the secondary cuts too. There are several takes that are a little bit different, you know, different camera angles, different I can't even say lighting because again it's all black and white, but mainly different camera angles, and the way people said certain lines was completely different. Like, one of the lines I noticed that was 100% different was when Dewey and Kincaid are fighting in the police station. He's just like, tell me where Sydney is. And then Dewey's like, I'm not going to tell you anything. And Kincaid walks up to him and is just like, would you like to say that underneath the polygraph? Oh, is that a threat? You know. And he pats him on the chest. He, like, just kind of buck up against him. Like, oh, you'll know when it's a threat. And he goes to walk off and Dewey's just like, oh, so if that was a threat. The same similar situation in the theatrical cut, but it's played off more goofy. You know, in the assembly cut, it's like two guys really about to duke it out. In the theatrical cut, it's like they made Dewey goofy, like stupid goofy in the theatrical cut compared to the assembly cut, where he actually has character development and growth from the past movie towards Gale, and actually is finding his own footing here. I don't know why they fucked over my boy Dewey, but hell, they fucked over Randy apparently, because the assembly cut has more lines from Randy that's amazing. But I mean, I'm gonna say, I've noticed that a lot of the lines that got cut, you know, that got changed, mainly it was something to do with either, because you gotta remember, this movie was supposed to come out in 1999, and then come out to 2000. So there was a couple of outdated jokes that just would not have land after the 2000. And what by outdated jokes, like one of them is Randy makes a comment before he ends his videotape about the, you know, the rules of a trilogy. He makes a comment going, man, I can't believe I died before episode 1. Hope that sucked. Would have made sense at the time because this movie is supposed to come out before episode 1. But now that it came out in 2000 after episode 1, that joke won't land. So they cut out a lot of those types of jokes out. A lot of like movie jokes. Also notice there's a line that Sydney says about Smith and Wesson, or how she put it. Can my friends join Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson? Like, apparently you can't say those names of the guns without their permission. Who the fuck knew? I didn't. I was very surprised about that. My buddy Bidwell tell me about that. He was just like, yeah, no, you gotta have permission from these guys just to say the name of the gun. Which makes me think, how much did they pay in that movie about the Winchester mansion? Like, y'all know the movie I'm talking about. It's called Winchester. The guns all over the place. Did they just spend most of the money on the replicating the house and for the rights to say the word Winchester? I have questions now. I have questions that need to be answered. But, yeah, there's just certain lines like that. Of course, there's a couple of different audio cues that I did notice that I thoroughly enjoyed during the assembly cut. Mainly it's a lot more the Dewey theme showing up where it's appropriate. Really love that. But yeah, it's a great cut. It's really great. I do recommend you getting your hands on it and at least watching it one good time because it's fun. It's a fun cut. I know it's not gonna be the best quality ever, but this Ghostface is so vicious and it's great. The way he taunts people is amazing. But we'll get there when we get there. Let's just go over the basic facts real quick. Like I stated before, this movie was supposed to come out in 1999. The reason why it got kind of pushed back a little bit was funny enough. Not really funny enough. This fucking sucked on all levels. Wes Craven sent in his edit for the movie the day of Columbine. And anybody who lived in that time knew after Columbine, shit changed dramatically. It was almost like 9/11 all over again, where people really started changing the ways, you walk through airports and shit. Same thing with the Columbine shootings. There was like this whole thing where movies didn't want to bring out violence in people. A lot of movies cut a lot of gun scenes out because they didn't want references to this whole situation. It was a whole shabacle when it came to the movies, especially horror movies at that time because of this whole shooting incident. So that's why, unfortunately, Scream 3 got pushed back and re-edited to hell and back. And I'm going to be honest, whoever did the editing for the theatrical cut, you ought to be smacked in the face. I'm not gonna lie. You, sir, need to be smacked so hard in the face that you gonna wake up next Tuesday and still fucking hurt. Because, bro, you butchered this movie. Especially after watching the assembly cut, you butchered this movie. You added scenes, like, they swap scenes around. And in the assembly cut, it makes so much sense. You're like the whole ghost scene. Originally, I still think it's a stupid fucking scene, but in the theatrical cut, it's just a stupid fucking jump scare scene. In the assembly cut, it makes sense on Sydney's personal level of what she's dealing with her trauma, and I like that. I like the way it flows. I like the way it fits. Theatrical cut, not so much. So yes, you, sir, whoever you are, I didn't even bother looking up your name because you pissed me off that badly. You, sir, need to be smacked until next Tuesday. Yeah, smacked until next Tuesday. Not smacked to Tuesday. Smacked until next. Like, every day I want to wake up and just smack that shit out of you. Because you ruined this movie, man. You ruined Scream 3 for me. Yeah, again, guys, I'm making no secret. Scream 3 is not my favorite of the bunch. But this assembly cut, definitely, for sure. I like this cut. But the original cut of Scream 3 lasted an entire hour, 56 minutes, and 35 seconds. This assembly cut now is over 2 hours and 22 minutes long and 3 seconds. And trust me, guys, the scenes are worth it, especially the opening alone, and the ending, by the way. The ending's completely different. Like, when I was watching it with Bidwell, we make a comment. Something seems different about this ending. Watching both of them back to back. Oh yeah, no, there is a clear fucking difference between the ending. Oh my god, like, it's incredible how much just changing one little thing can really change a movie up and down. Of course, Wes Craven directed this movie. He directed 4 of the Scream movies that have come out. Unfortunately, he passed away shortly after either shortly after or shortly before Scream 4 got released. So that was his last directorial debut for Scream. Of course, we brought back Ned Campbell playing Sydney. We got Courtney Cox coming back as Gail. We got David, my boy David Arquette. Oh man, love him. Woohoo, David, still my boy. He's still my Dewey, even all these years later. He still plays Dewey. We brought Levi, who played Cotton Weary from the first movie. He makes a cameo in here, and trust me, his opening is golden in this movie. I love this opening. Like, it's just chef's kiss. We got Scott Foley playing Roman. Of course, Roger Jackson comes back as Ghostface. And then here's just a creme de la creme for anybody who loves Grey's Anatomy. Your beautiful boy, your McSteamy, I think that's what he's called. I don't know. I didn't really watch Grey's Anatomy. I'm not saying I never liked the show. It's just, I never really cared for the show. Like, I had ER. I like George Clooney. I'm sorry, not sorry. I was more of an ER girl. But Patrick Dempsey, everybody. He plays Detective Kincaid. Cute as ever. Cute as a button. Has a thing for Sydney. As always. But yeah, this movie when it came out, though, like I said, I never really liked it. And so going back and actually rewatching it and then watching the assembly cut really made me kind of bury down why I hate Scream 3, but why I really like this assembly cut. So now I don't know where I would put Scream 3. Maybe if they actually release the assembly cut on DVD, I'll find a way to like sneak it in somewhere, just like throw that into my top listings, because it's just good cut of the movie. Like if they would have kept it the way it was and maybe add the Angelique being the secondary killer, it would have been a great movie. I think I would have highly liked it. I think I would definitely be talking and raving a lot more about it, have it higher on my ranking list instead of being dead last. And trust me, that's difficult to do in a Scream movie. Usually I need to fight over, which movie belongs in top, not which movie belongs in the bottom. Looking at you, Scream 5. I have my own personal beefs with that movie. It ain't bad, but there's still some questionable things about the writing and character choices here. Again, I'm going to go back with the whole Dewey thing. Yeah, I'm still harping on that all these years later. I'm still mad about how they wrote Dewey to be that stupid. And then you want me to believe that little girl, whatever the fuck her name was, stabbed him in the back, stabbed him in the front, and then picked his ass up? Nah, don't fuck with me, movie. Don't fuck with me. Alright, she ain't superhuman over here. That's not part of the rules, okay? When I watched the rule scene in Scream 5, I didn't hear anything about, they're superhuman. But let's go ahead, let's dive straight on into this shit, because I've been super excited to talk about this assembly cut. I spent 2 days watching this movie, make sure I had everything correct. I hope I have everything. I'm going to do my best. We all know how the Scream 3 movie plays out. If not, I'll do my best to describe the scene to refresh y'all's memory, but I'll be mainly talking about the difference, what they added and what they took away, because there is a few scenes that they did take away, or let me phrase that. They added some things in the theatrical cut near the end of the movie that's not in this assembly cut, and I think some of the scenes they added in the theatrical cut should have just been cut out, like hands down. But let's go ahead and dive straight in. So with the assembly cut, the opening itself is 13 minutes long compared to the 9 minutes opening that we originally had in the theatrical cut. We open up, of course, with the beautiful shot of the helicopter flying over LA, and we, in the assembly cut, have Red Right Hand playing, which I always love that song. It's a great nod. It's almost like Scream's theme song in some aspects, because it plays in almost all the Scream movies, I want to say. Now, something I noticed about Cotton during this opening is that in the car, he seems so much more aggressive. And it makes sense because he's stuck in LA traffic and he's on the phone, I want to say arguing with his manager or somebody. They don't really specify who this person is. I think they say his name, but they never specify if he's like a manager or producer or something. But if you remember in the theatrical cut, he's sitting there, bitching about, well, I should get more than a cameo in the Scream or in the Stab movies, because I lived through it. I want a bigger part. He's all, bitching about wanting a bigger part. Where in the assembly cut, he's mad about the cameo in Stab 3. He didn't want to do it. And he wanted I kid you not, he says, any word about the Navy SEAL movie role? What do you mean I didn't get the role? What do you mean I'm too Jewish? Straight up. Apparently he got denied a Navy SEAL role because he was too Jewish. But he seems so much more aggressive, though. And I can kind of get it, if I got turned down for a role because I was too, insert religious beliefs right here, or insert whatever, I would be pretty mad, too. That'd be like me being turned down a movie because I'm too white. Like, seriously. I would be pissed. I would be humongously pissed. Now, the next part, of course, is when he gets a phone call. And, of course, we all know it's Ghostface fucking with him. This is where, like, the big dive between the assembly cut and the theatrical cut changes. Because in the theatrical cut, Ghostface uses, like, 20 different voices to fuck with everybody, right? In the theatrical cut, he uses the same amount of voices, but he does it in such a malicious way. It's kind of creepy. Except when he goes after Sydney. When he goes after Sydney, he does not use that mommy voice at all. No, when he goes after Sydney, straight up just him as Ghostface. And I love that. But we'll get there when we get there. So he gets the phone call, and of course, he's like, "Hello, who is this? You called me." "No, I didn't." "You called me." No. This is how this works. You called me. I pick up the phone. What do you want? Who are you? And if you notice during the theatrical cut, he's very flirtatious with her. And there's an added line here. There's an added line that makes him just more of a fucking dog. I'm not gonna lie. Like, at first I was like, oh, Cotton, maybe he's not such an asshole in this cut. No, he's still a fucking asshole. He's still a cheating prick. He still wants whoever the hell's on this phone. But in the theatrical cut, she's straight, the woman's voice, Ghostface playing the woman. It's just like, oh, you sound like that guy on TV. Oh my God, you're Cotton Weary. You sound so familiar. Like, oh, so handsome. Oh, so you 100% Cotton? 110%. Like, the stupid fucking flirting. Like, who the fuck says that? I don't give a shit if you are cheating. Who the fuck said you 100% Cotton fan? Motherfucker. But of course, in the midst of that flirting, that's when it switches over from the girl's voice to Ghostface's voice. And, it says something about, tell me where Sydney is, or your girlfriend gets it, and the girlfriend's in the shower. And he's just like, leave her alone, don't touch her. And he's just like, well, tell me where Sydney is. Yeah, I ain't fucking doing that. Wrong move. Hangs up the phone, that's when we start the fucking chase scene. In the assembly cut, this is how it plays out. So, picks up the phone. Of course, they argue back and forth. You called me. No, I didn't. You called me. And then she just goes, oh, well, I mean, I like your voice. You sound awful like that guy Cotton. Like, that's, are you that guy? And he's just like, yeah, well, what if I am? Oh, I like you. I like your voice. And then, of course, he hangs up with whoever else he was on the phone with. Like, hey, I gotta go. Hangs up. So they start flirting. He even makes a comment about getting comfortable and having phone sex with her. Like, straight up, just, how did he word it? It was something like, what else would you want to talk about since we're going to be having phone sex in the car or something like that? Actually, no, he didn't state that he's in the car because there's an argument later on when he calls her back. Yes, he calls her back, by the way. But after he makes the phone sex comment, she goes, well, what do you think your girlfriend would say about that? What makes you think I have a girlfriend? Oh, I know you have a girlfriend. Drive safe now. Hangs up. He's confused. How the hell does she know he's driving? Because, again, he never said anything to her about driving. So, he Star 69's her. Which we'll be seeing a lot of that in this movie, by the way. Star 69. I am so proud of people learning about the Star 69 callback feature. Brings a tear to my eye. All they need to learn is to bring a Zippo, and we'll have all the horror movie cliche problems solved. Next, I'll be right back. So he Star 69 her, calls her back. She's like, hello? How do you know I'm driving? Oh, well, I mean, what else would you be doing in traffic on highway, wherever highway's on? So he starts looking around, and he sees a car. And again, it's kind of hard to see because, black and white version of this. But it looks like somebody's in the car talking to him like 2 or 3 cars down. And she's watching him. So as he's like, like looking around, being all concerned and shit, she's like, you know what I like to do in traffic? I like to play movie games. You want to play a game with me? And he's like, no, I don't want to play with game. No one ever wants to fucking play a game with me. Like, straight up says that. Like, aggressive as all. Like, straight up. Like, gets very mad that no one wants to play the card game with her. Or Ghostface, I should say. I'm sorry, Ghostface. You're going to be that aggressive? No, I don't want to play with you. I'm sorry. I'm hanging up now. Yeah, I'm starting to learn Ghostface should not call me because I'm just going to be fucking with him the entire time. And then when he shows up to kill me, I'm just going to be like, took you long enough. Come on, let's do it. So, as they're playing the card game, of course, it's a scary movie, guess the scary movie kind of game. And they end up basically, oh, it was a classic. It was a Jim movie, it's a Stephen King one. Oh, it's about a killer car. She really knows how to rev thing up. And says something along the lines of, it wasn't a masterpiece, but, it really knew how to hit. Basically, complimenting this movie. And for anybody who doesn't know the answer to the movie, it's Christine. She's talking about Christine, because here's where the punchline comes in at. He's trying to guess the movie, and he's like, is it Carrie? Oh, no, wait, Carrie's the one with high schooler, and Cujo's the one with the dog. Oh, I know this one. And Ghostface just goes, well, it's too bad for you, Cotton, or should I say, for your girlfriend, Christine. And then hangs up the phone, then we see this car drive the fuck off down the road. So him and his massive panic ends up trying to basically race the car towards his house. Now, in the theatrical cut, while he's racing towards the car, while he's racing towards the house, we have intermittent cuts of Christine in the shower getting dressed and all, or technically getting undressed, I should say, because she takes the towel off. And as she's getting, I guess, ready for their nightly rituals, I don't know what the hell she's getting ready for. Cotton, of course, is calling her, and she ain't picking up the phone because the phone line's cut. And we're going to divulge for a second. We're going to pause the assembly cut so we can finish the theatrical cut here. So, Cotton, like I said, he's racing there. Even in the theatrical cut, he's racing there because Christina's in trouble. While Christina's getting dressed, though, she hears someone come in, and it sounds like Cotton, and he's just like, Christine, I'm home. Are you okay, honey? Oh, yeah, come on, I'm upstairs. Oh, and then, man, you're not going to believe what the hell happened to me today. Oh, what happened? And Ghostface appears and attacks her and, tries to kill her. She locks herself in the room, and he's, like, stabbing through the door, and he's like, baby, I'm just joking with you. I'm just joshing. I don't... Granted, I'm going to be honest. Even if this was a prank, bro, why the fuck would you terrify your girlfriend like that? Seriously, bro, like, that's a fucked up prank. But Ghostface being Ghostface, he's playing it off like Cotton, playing a prank on her. And, he's just like, oh, baby, I'm just joking with you. No, just let me in. Let me in so I could gut you, what did he say? Like, cut you up or fuck you up. Basically threatening to kill her. And of course she screams. Cotton eventually shows up, comes on inside. We have, don't forget, guys, the Creed song's still in the theatrical cut and the assembly cut, by the way. The Creed song is still there. We have not forgotten about Creed. Creed is still in this movie. But Cotton goes up, he runs in there. He tries to, get into the room, basically busts on in there. Christine attacks him, a couple of little swipes with a golf club, and he's like, baby, what's going on? Why are you doing this? What's happening? And she's like, you stay the fuck away from me, you psycho, you're trying to kill me. And he's like, baby, please, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, we gotta, and then she hits him with a fucking golf club, and he's on the ground. Poor dude watches Ghostface come up behind her, stab her, I think like one time, because unfortunately, I will say this about the theatrical cut. The death scenes suck. I have made that no secret, the death scenes suck. So, when someone dies, it's kind of... sucks. Like, straight up. Like, it's like a simple jab, done. It's like a one-pump Willie over here, just, and I'm done. Like, bro, like, double check, double tap this shit or something. Entertain me with the slaughter here. But she gets stabbed. Cotton tries to fight her off. Ends up getting stabbed himself. And then as he, after they, like, fight a little bit, destroy some more of the house, not even the house, but the room. As he's standing on top of Cotton, he says, you should have told me, no, he says, you lose. You should have told me where she was. And then stabs him. That's basically the opening of the theatrical cut right there. Just a simple mind game. My problem with the theatrical cut of the opening is the fact that why Christine? Why did she get involved? Why is he fucking with Christine? He originally called Cotton to get Sydney. When Cotton didn't answer, he should have just killed Christine and called it a day, for Cotton to find when he got home. Why fuck with her? Why? Just why? So what? He could plan for her to be freaking out that Cotton will come in and witness him kill his girlfriend or something? Like, I had an immense amount of problems with this. Like, I thought she was just an innocent victim. Like, I get it, you're trying to fuck with Cotton, so you fuck with his girlfriend, but why you gotta fuck with her like that? So, the reason why I divulged a little bit from the assembly cut and to explain the rest of the theatrical opening is because throughout this assembly cut, while Cotton's driving, trying to call 911, and actually, hell, he's not even calling 911. I would have been fucking calling 911, be like, hey, bro, I got this strange phone call, so my girlfriend's in trouble. Send police officers, SWAT team, anybody to go help my girl out. But now, as he's driving, there's no cut to Christine. Christine's actually not in this opening at all. She was a random pick that they added later on to this movie. But yeah, she is not in here at all. We hear her voice, air quotes around that because it's Ghostface. So, he gets in, and of course he opens the door and he's like, Chris, are you alright, Chris? And of course the Creed song starts playing. Gotta love that Creed. And as he's searching around, of course, his phone rings. He picks it up, and it's Christine on the phone. He's just like, Chris, where are you? I'm down at Starbucks. Someone from the Stab movies called me and said you wanted to meet up or something. All right, Chris, I need you to stay there, call the police. What do you mean stay there and call the police? What's going on? Is there another woman there? Chris, this is not the time to talk about this. There's somebody else in this house. She's crazy. Hangs up the phone. Of course, the ghost face, being Christine, calls him back, and she's like, baby, I'm almost there. I'm running up the hallway now. No, Chris, don't come in. Don't do this, baby, please. I'm there. Just open the door, Chris. Oh, god damn it! He fucking opens the door, and of course there's nobody there. But on the phone, he hears her say, "Get the bat, it's in the closet." Right. He opens the closet door. There's fucking Christine's body just comes flopping out on top of him. He backs up. Creme de la creme, guess who pops through the fucking door? Ghostface, right? Comes in there, viciously stabs him in the back repeatedly. He rolls over on the ground. Ghostface is on top of him. And, in the fucking girlfriend's voice, leans in and just says, "It's okay, honey. I'm home now." Looks up at Cotton, and Cotton is just like on the ground looking at him. And I shit you not, this was like the greatest line ever. It ranks up there with the opening from Scream 6 for me when it comes to these great fucking lines. Like, I feel like if this would have been the opening, it would have made the Scream 6 reference so much better later on, because just the fact that how Scream 6 opening has that little meta joke, just, well, what about my movie? Fuck the movies! And then he stabs him. It's kind of like this, because basically as Cotton's standing over, not Cotton, but Ghostface standing over Cotton, and says the girlfriend line, he leans in and says, "Time for my show, Cotton. You've been canceled." Cotton looks up and is just like, but I'm in the sequel. And then Ghostface stabs him. Love that. I fucking love that. Just, but I'm in the sequel. Oh, but just from that interaction alone, the fact that Ghostface was still using the girlfriend's voice to fuck with Cotton even at the end, that's malicious. Because even Cotton knows his girlfriend's dead. And I get it was probably a choice to make us go, oh my god, who's this Ghostface? But come on, man, like, as a Ghostface killer, that's just malicious. That's just cruel and unusual. I love it, though. So, after that, here's where we get another little deviation from the theatrical cut. So, this is where we get, like, a swap of scenes. So, in the theatrical cut, after the opening where Cotton's dead, we go to Sydney and her living her life alone, isolated. She's working out at a woman help center. And that's basically where the theatrical cut is. In the assembly cut, we go straight over to Gail at her little assembly talking about journalism, going, you see these people around you. You see your friends. They're your friends now, but they will be your competition later. So you need to go out there and do... Oh, excuse me, Ma, I keep burping. That's what I get for eating some froyo before I fucking started this. Whew. But she's just like, go out there, cut throats, take names. You got this. Like, you have to be on top. Do the decisions nobody else will to get that story you want. And then, of course, everybody claps and cheers. And it's very similar to the scene we get after the Sydney thing, because, again, you know, we had in the theatrical cut, Sydney, then we go to the Gale's assembly. But there's something very interesting about the assembly cut version compared to the theatrical version. So after she gives her revenue speech, she seems very, very passionate in this cut, by the way. Very passionate about journalism. A guy stands up, you know, it's just like, so we should go out there and cut throats like you. Metaphorically speaking, yes, you should. Well, how well did that work out for you? Now, in the theatrical cut, he asks that question and he immediately cuts to, all right, guys, that's it, we're wrapping up, you know, and then, you know, someone walks up and goes, hey, there's an officer out there wanting to meet you. In the assembly cut, there is a bit of a pause after that particular line, you know, of, you know, how did that work out for you? And it's not an awkward pause, but a pause for her to reflect on that question. Was it worth it to her? Was her writing yet another fucking book about the murders that she was a part of and ruining her friend's credibility over here or whatever? Was it worth it? Was it truly worth it? And she's got to sit there and think, and that, just that moment of silence, that's some character moment right there. But of course, after, you know, we had that moment, the assembly ends, and they walk up, and they're like, hey, there's a guy out here who wants to talk to you. He's an officer. And she looks, and kind of smiles a little bit, and then as she's going up the stairs, you hear Dewey's theme song start playing. To make you, you know, you as the audience think, it's Dewey. And even Gail thinks it's Dewey. This is why the theme song is playing, because she still has Dewey on her mind. She still loves Dewey. Granted, in the theatrical cut, you wouldn't fucking guess it, because there's no romantic chemistry between them until the very fucking end. But the assembly cut fixes that. Seriously. As she walks up, though, we hear the Dewey theme song, and unfortunately, it's Kincaid. And don't get me wrong, you know, Kincaid's a nice guy, but it's not Dewey. So they ended up sitting there chit-chatting about, you know, Cotton's death, and that a picture of Maureen Prescott was found on his body. And, or let me phrase that. They found a picture, and since Gail is the knower and the original writer of the Woodsbury murders, they think she would know what the hell is going on. So, and of course she does. She's Gail fucking Weathers. So she looks at it. She's like, oh my God, this is Maureen Prescott. Sydney's mother? Oh my God. Like, who the fuck knew? Like, straight up. But unfortunately, during the theatrical cut, we go from the assembly straight to the conversation. So there's no build up with Dewey on her mind. She's literally just talking to the officer, says the same thing. And he's just like, "Hi, I'm Kincaid. I need your help. Here's the picture." Da, da, da. And then we fade to Sydney feeding her dog. Now, during the assembly cut, after Kincaid and Gail talk about the picture, that's when we see Sydney living alone. We meet up with her, just being by herself, locking at the gates, working at the call center. But there's a bit more to this scene. And I really like this because it shows you character growth, character moments, that things aren't okay with her. Yes, she is isolated and alone. And theatrical cut, they make her more angry. That the fact that she purposely pushes people away because she's like, "I don't trust any of y'all motherfuckers. I mean, I like Dewey, but everybody else can go fuck themselves." Oh yeah, my dad. But everybody else can go fuck themselves. But in the assembly cut, after, she gets on the phone call, her name's Laura, by the way. She goes by Laura at the call center, for those of y'all who don't know. And as she's working throughout the day and whatnot, of course, we get this nice little fade out, to just show the passing of time here. And she ends up hanging up. She looks at her dog, Cherokee, and just like, "Hey, buddy, you hungry? Let's go get some food." Turns on the news, just for background noise. And as she picks up the dog food, she sees the news report. She sees this news report of Cotton's death, and it freaks her out. And she drops the food bag. Now, in the theatrical cut, when we see her watch the news at a later point, not after, but during the theatrical cut, when she's feeding the dog, she's reading the news, she just kind of stands there over the sink like, "Huh, holy shit, he's dead." And the assembly cut, it hits her. Cotton's dead. And of course, they talk about his cameo in Scream 3 and, not Scream 3. God damn it. They're talking about his cameo in Stab 3, about how he's supposed to be in it. And you could tell this really fucking bothers her. The fact that she drops the food, and then as she's picking it up, she gets mad at the dog. She doesn't hit the dog or anything, but she's just like, "Cherokee, no, just stop. And she actually is like having an anxiety attack. Like, this is like, it's brought back so much emotion, so much energy and emotions that she's probably been bottling up for years had just come to the surface, and she's trying to calm the fuck down. And it took one guy getting killed that she knew to bring back all these memories. And again, with the assembly cut, I love that. I fucking love that. That's character development and growth right there. Because unfortunately, with the theatrical cut, it's all about mommy issues. She still can't get over the fact that her mommy had secrets and that her mommy, is dead. She even says that a couple of times in the movie, why did mom have to keep so many secrets? What was she hiding? What exactly is going on? And they really kind of bury on the fact that she's still holding some kind of resentment or traumatic moment between the death of her mother and what's going on now. And I could get that if this was the second movie. If this was the second fucking movie, I could buy that plot line. This is the third movie, though, in a horror trilogy. We already dealt with Sid's mother issues. We found out that her mother had the affair with Billy's dad, and Billy then proceeds to kill everybody to get at Sydney for her mother fucking up everything. And even killed her for it. Because Billy is that type of person. Granted, he had Roman's help. Again, I never did get that plot line. I never did understand why the man had to bring Billy involved. Like, I get he was showing off his movies and shit, but come on. Like, come the fuck on. You're supposed to be older than everybody. Why are you being a dick, bro? Well, we'll get there when we get there. But, yeah, like I said though, there's just too much mommy issues going on with the theatrical cut on both sides, with Ghostface and with Sydney, and I just think that was just too much, too much. And I get why Raymond, Raymond, whatever the fuck his name is, whatever the fuck this loser name is. I don't even want to call him Ghostface. He sucks. He sucks as a killer. He really does. Like, in the assembly cut, it makes more sense. Like, he still has mommy issues, yes, but he's not harping on the mommy issues so badly. It's mainly more he's jealous at Sydney for having the life he always wanted. I think he even says that in the theatrical cut. But in the assembly cut, he really makes it a point, especially with the phone calls as Ghostface, that this is personal towards Sydney. Like, he wants to go after Sydney. And yeah, in the theatrical cut, he used the voice of her mother to taunt her and shit. All fine and dandy. But the real creature that hides in the back of her mind, the real thing that scares her, is Ghostface. And I can actually prove it when it comes to the ghost scene. We'll get there when we get there. But after, we see the distraught moment of her dropping the food and dealing with these emotions, we go to the studio bat lot where they're filming Stab 3. And this is a little bit different because in the theatrical version, it's all the camera crews hanging around the studios trying to get in and everything. And, of course, there's a news broadcaster over the whole video talking about how security's tightened up and how, it's all because of the murders related to Stab 3 and everything. And the assembly cut, we have a TV reporter getting ready to go. Like, he's got his camera crew and he's just like, hey, I need to talk to you real quick. Just let me ask you some questions. And, of course, he gets denied denied an interview. So we end up cutting to inside the studio where the actors and everybody's just kind of hanging around. And they're having an argument about Cotton's death. The producer's just like, how do we even know that this death is related to what's going on in the movie right now? Detective, can you at least tell me that Cotton's death had nothing to do with this movie, right? He was making a movie called Stab, and he was stabbed. That line, by the way, was given to us by Kincaid's partner, who has some funny-ass one-liners in the assembly cut. I'm not gonna lie. He's got some great one-liners, and it makes him look like a pure, utter fucking dick, but I like him. He's not like a mean dick, but he's like a funny, ha-ha, look at me being a dick, if that makes any kind of sense. Also, I would like to add the fact that when I remember this line, he was stabbed. He was making a movie called Stabbed. He was stabbed. It reminds me of that line from Friday the 13th, Part 6, where he was just like, this is definitely Jason's motivation. Jason kills with anything. He'll kill with a pole. He'll kill with a car tire. Hell, he'll kill you with a fucking fist through the chest. That's just Jason. So it kind of reminded me of the same situations. Like, well, he was stabbed. Well, you can say that this could have been Michael Myers. Oh, well, what about that? Could have been Chucky. You don't know this. You had no idea it was related to Stab 3. This could have been a guest appearance by Michael Myers, and they wouldn't even know it. But after that, and then, of course, the producers and everybody's just like, I've made horror movies for over 30 years. I never had an incident like this ever before. We cut to the actual actors of the Stab movies chit-chatting about the murders themselves. And this is just a little different, but there's a few different camera angles here where we linger on some characters more than others at certain points as they're chit-chatting, where I want to say in the theatrical cut they ended up just like focusing on like one or two of the characters. But after they ended up discussing, back and forth about, what do we do if, the movie gets canceled or anything like that? Oh, no, it'll be fine, it'll be good, we don't have to worry about that. And I've read the script, and of course, Tyson, by the way. I love this actor. I love the character Tyson. He's got some more funny pieces of dialogue too. It's fantastic. It's not here though. It's not here, but he does have some great piece of dialogue. Of course, and some. I'm not gonna say the token black guy character, but Tyson really reminds me of the token black guy character. Especially during this death scene, like, oh my god, he's got a line in there that just had me dying. Like, I'm just like, I wish they would have kept that line in because of what he says later on in the movie. But after, they're chit-chatting about, have you read the script? Do you know who lives or who dies in this movie? And of course, I feel like some of the actors don't take this movie very serious. Tyson does not seem like the type of person who takes the movie very serious. The guy who's playing Dewey in the movie, Tom, or something like that, he takes the movie kind of serious. Not super serious, but kind of serious. But after that, Gail then comes in. And, of course, she's working with Kincaid. She's able to walk on set and everything. And Gail meets the actress, Jennifer, who's playing Gail in this movie. Oh, a little fun fact, by the way. While the characters were chit-chatting before Gail walks in, the chick who plays Sid, the actress, I think it's Angelique. I think it was Angelique or Sarah Darling. One of them two said the line, "Now I see why Tori Spelling didn't want to come back for this after the sequel." God, one said that's a callback line reference to Scream 1. It was either Scream 1 or Scream 2 where Sid and Dewey, I think it's Scream 1, where Sid and Dewey are talking, and they're like, if they make a movie about this, you could be portrayed by a young Tori Spelling. I see yourself more as a Meg Roberts myself. So I thought that was a nice little reference. I thought that was funny. But of course, Gail comes in, and they're like two peas in a pod over here. It's just two bitches in a pod. Let me rephrase that: two bitches in a pod. Gail comes in. Oh my god! Jennifer's just like, oh my god, you're the actual Gail Weathers. I'm you. I'm playing you. Holy shit, you're the real Gail Weathers. Yeah, that's cool and all. Can you tone it down a notch? And walks off. And then she starts, like, emulating Gail herself. So she starts walking after Gail, like, oh, I'm sorry, your turn in 60 minutes didn't play out. But, crime journalism is good to fall back on. And she turns at her and just goes, well, I'm sorry dating Brad Pitt didn't work out to you, but being single is definitely a good fallback on. Like, a bunch of catty humor here. And after that, of course, Dewey ends up being introduced in this. And there's, again, Assembly Cut really adds this beautiful character development between Dewey and Gail that is lacking severely in the theatrical cut. And it really irks the hell out of me because of the fact that if you watch the theatrical cut, there is no romantic chemistry between Gail and Dewey. Granted, I know they broke up and it's supposed to be, kind of like awkward. I don't know how long they've been broken up at this point, but it's supposed to be like an awkward stage of after the breakup, we're still kind of mad and feuding at each other. But then it doesn't make any sense character development-wise when come the ending of the movie, he proposes to her. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. But in the assembly cut, you see that there's a reason why Dewey's acting the way he is. He's very snippy towards Gail at the beginning of the movie, and I love it. I love it. But, they see each other, and she's just like, Dewey, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? What are you doing here? I'm a technical advisor for this movie. Like, I don't know why they need a cop technical advisor, but you know what? Dewey's there. Fucking Dewey. And as they're chit-chatting and everything, of course, so of course, Tom walks by. This is one of my favorite added lines they did for Gail. But as Tom walks by, she makes the comment, did someone drug my latte this morning or something? I kind of maybe get why they cut that line out when she's arguing with Dewey about, why he's here, who's playing him, and you know what's going on. Because again, she just walked to a movie set based on a real life event she lived in. She's arguing with Dewey next to a guy who's playing Dewey in the movie. So I like the line, but I can kind of see why they cut it, because you know it might be maybe a racy joke or something. You know, maybe a little too much innuendo or something like that. I'm not quite sure why they cut it, but I personally like that line. That's a real Gale Weathers line right there. But as Tom walks by and he's like, "Oh my God, you're Gale Weathers. You know, you wrote that article about me, about how that driving accident that I was into was clearly my fault, and that I was drunk apparently." And she's just like, "Yeah, boy, I'm very popular today." And he walks off, and you know, Gail makes a comment just like, "Well, who the fuck was that supposed to be?" She looks at Dewey, and Dewey's like, "He's supposed to be playing me. He's supposed to be playing you." And then she laughs, and then we have this added line, which again, I don't know why they cut this, because this seems like a cute moment. Just a little bit of a cute moment. But as she gets done laughing, Dewey looks at it and goes, "What? What? What? What?" Like, it's like there's a line of what's between them. Just what? Why are you laughing? What? But after that, of course, the producer, Milton, comes out, and he's just like, "Gale Weathers, you're not supposed to be here. No reporters on set. Get out of here." And they throw her, go to throw her around. She's like, "Dewey, I'm with Kincaid. Do something." And then Dewey's just like, "Yeah, no, bye. Bye. But good luck. Bye. I don't need you. Bye." And thank God they still kept this cameo, by the way. They still kept these cameo. And if y'all know what I'm about to talk about, y'all know this cameo that's coming up. So they throw Gail out, and she's like, "Thank you, boys," and walks by, and guess who's fucking walking by? It's Jay and Silent Bob. They're walking by on the movie tour, and they see Gail, and they're like, "Holy shit, Bob, that's the reporter. That's Connie fucking Chung. Hey, Connie!" And Gail flips them off. I love that. Apparently, from what I've been told, Jay and Bob were friends with somebody. I can't remember who they were friends with, but they ended up cameoing in each other's movies. So I thought that was kind of like a funny cameo. I love it, though. So, this is where we get another we swap the scene kind of scenarios. Okay, so, in the theatrical cut, after the Connie Chung joke, which, by the way, comes back as a joke Kincaid's partner says later on, like a dead ass. I'll get there when we get there, but dead ass, that joke comes back. In the theatrical cut, though, we cut to Sydney talking in the kitchen with her dad about, why did mom have to have secrets? Things would have been different. She didn't have she couldn't say the words affair, but, she's just like, things could have been different. And, her dad's just like, "Well, why don't you not be here? Why don't you come back to Woodsboro with me? Why don't, you just leave all this behind?" And she says that this is the idea she wanted. She wanted to be alone because psychos can't kill what they can't find. Now, in the assembly cut, we had the dream sequence. Now, like I said, I'm not a big fan of this dream sequence. I thought it was stupid, but it makes sense here. So the last time we saw Sid during the assembly cut, she just had that kind of mental breakdown after seeing Cotton, murder on the news. She drops the dog food and everything. She then has the dream about her mother, coming up through the back of the house through the window, and, "Oh, Sydney, come to mom," that bullshit. And then Ghostface jumps up and, tries to stab her through the window, and she wakes up, and she's distraught and everything. To the point that when she wakes up, she hears something. She just grabs her gun instantly, and then, starts searching the house, like, just frantically, like, "Oh my God, somebody's in the house, somebody's in the house." Fortunately, it's just her dad. Her dad walks in, he's like, "Hey, it's just me, oh my God." And she breaks down. She starts sobbing. She hugs her dad and starts apologizing and sobbing. He's like, hey, it's okay. It's okay. It's good. It's good. And all she can say is, Cotton was murdered, Dad. Cotton was murdered. I know. And then we cut to the, okay, we only cut. There's actually a continuation of them walking to the kitchen and then him putting all the bags down. They sit down and have that conversation. The reason why I like this version of the dream sequence is not only the dream sequence, but what happens after the dream sequence. This literally adds on to what I was saying earlier about how upset and distraught she is about these deaths, to the point that, yeah, she still is dealing with her mother issues, but the main thing she is fearing right now is Ghostface returning. And in this dream sequence right here being placed exactly at this moment, it makes you really feel for Sydney when she is freaking the fuck out. Like, she is uncontrollable. Like, there's parts in the movie she starts, like, shaking uncontrollably. And with this dream sequence, it really just emphasizes the fact that she is just dealing with her shit as it comes, and she doesn't know quite how to deal with it. I mean, how else do you deal with something coming back at you from your past? Like, straight up. You thought you got rid of the kill in the first movie, then whoops, comes back again for revenge in the second movie. Here we are in the third movie again. Still causing more bullshit. So, of course, it's still gonna bother her. And it's not the mommy issues that are bothering her, it's Ghostface. And I like that. It should be Ghostface, not her mother issues. Again, if this was the second movie, yes, I can get behind, alright, she's dealing with the traumatic death of her mother still and how she needs to get over it. In this third movie, we've already passed the mother issues. We've already gone past that. We need to focus on what's really her problem, her really core problem here, and it's Ghostface. She's never quite gotten over Ghostface. She doesn't trust Ghostface not returning. And this dream sequence mixed with the entrance of her dad coming in, it really emphasizes it. And that is just great character writing and development, especially over 3 fucking movies. And I don't know why, Mr. Editor, you cut that shit out, but I'm gonna punch you in the face until next Tuesday, like I said earlier, because, sir, you fucked this movie up. You couldn't keep some of the good shit, could ya? You really couldn't. But after that, we then cut to Sarah Darling going to the studio. Now, if you saw the theatrical cut, of course, the way that the scene plays out is Sarah pulls up in the car, she goes upstairs, she meets Tyson doing a little gag, going on, ends up getting the phone call, of course it's Raymond, hey, let's rehearse our lines, yada yada yada. We'll get there when we get there. Let's go back to the assembly cut real quick. So, the only thing they added to this moment beforehand is 2 things. One, you got Sarah pulling up to the studio, like actually having to go through security, and she pulls a fucking celebrity move. She comes in and she's like, alright, just open the door. I need to see some identification. Don't you know who I am? I'm all over the fucking movie posters. We get that, but I need to still see some ID. Whatever, good for you, having to keep the place safe, don't want the parking lot to get vandalized or anything. Like, bitch, they're here to protect you. You don't think you're in danger, honey, but you are. And she failed to hear that warning. But after that, we didn't see her pull up, and there's this one extra shot of somebody watching Sarah from the rooftop as she's coming in. And I like that because it lets you know Ghostface is there watching her. I love it. Fucking love it. But we continue on where we left off in the theatrical cut, where, she goes upstairs and she's on the phone with Raymond. And there's a couple of added lines here. Mainly it's more intense and drawn out, though, especially with the phone call. And just the whole scene in general was just drawn out and very, very intense. And I like this compared to the theatrical cut, where it felt a little rushed. I'm not going to lie. It felt super rushed. But during the theatrical cut, of course, she breaks the stupid head statue, the head off the statue when the phone call rings and spooks her. and it's Raymond on the other end, and as they're going over the lines, he goes to the Ghostface voice, and then she gets attacked and everything. But the added line in the movie as they're running through, because first of all, she hates the role she's playing. She's playing the second victim to die. She dies in the shower, and of course, being a dumb blonde she is, like a fucking, like, dumbass blonde, right? She's on the phone, bitching about the script. She's like, I don't even know why I'm doing this whole scene in a towel. Like, why am I taking a shower? My boyfriend just died. Bitch, it doesn't matter if he just died. Everybody needs a shower. Everybody needs a shower. Just because your boyfriend died, he's not going to take a shower? Is that your train of thought here? Is that your logical conclusion? Well, my boyfriend's dead. I guess I'm not showering for a week. But as they're doing the line, she's just like, this is stupid. This line is stupid. I'm a professional. I can't work like this. Hey, bitch, there's nothing professional about you. You think you're a pro, but you ain't. But as she's, just keeps reading the line, and he's just like, is your name Candy? Like Candy Cane, Candy Apple? Who is this? Or how about Sarah? What the fuck, Raymond? That's not the line. Well, it is in my script. Oh my god, did they change the script again? Like, how can we learn our lines? They keep changing the script every 15 fucking minutes. First of all, I kind of agree with that. I've seen movie sets like that where they'll have a script and then like 5-6 days later they'll have another script, and then like 8 more days later they'll have another script, and eventually you have too many damn scripts rolling around, and that's how leaks happen. Just remember that. But as, of course, they're going through the line, Ghostface comes up on the fucking phone, doing the classic Ghostface voice. Which, by the way, I'm going to say this. Comparing the two Ghostface voices, I don't know what was going on with Jackson, but you can tell there is a difference between his voice in the theatrical cut and the assembly cut. Like, straight up. I don't know if it was just he was tired, or if he was a little worn down, or if he was just tired of doing the voice during the theatrical cut. But there's certain scenes where he's not giving it his all. Like, he doesn't feel as aggressive. He seems like a guy just having a casual conversation on the phone. In the assembly cut, he is aggressive. He is angry. He is mad at the world, and he wants you to know it. And I love that. I love it when Jackson's voice gets so gruff and rough like that, because it's like almost like he's grinding his teeth in anger. Great Ghostface voice. Great Ghostface voice in the assembly cut. Theatrical cut, I feel like he could have done better. I feel like they took the first take and said, that's a wrap, folks. Really. I blame the editor still. Sir, whoever the fuck you are, I should have looked up your name, but you know what? You disgraced me with how badly you edited this movie. I don't even want to know your name. So, after Ghostface reveals himself on the phone, she panics because she hears somebody as she runs out. So she thinks, oh my god, it's Ghostface. She goes and hides in the prop room where all the costumes are at. It's a security guard, of course. He's just checking around, make sure nobody else is around. And as going around the building, shutting everything off, she's trying to call security, 911. I don't know why she's not calling 911. She's just trying to call fucking security. Like, the security's gonna do something, Her fucking rent-a-cops. I don't see no guns on anybody. Should have called the police. Again, dumb blonde. But as she's hiding in the row of costumes for Ghostface, and she's trying to call security on the phone, Ghostface is behind her in one of the other, further back, third, fourth costume down or something like that. Comes out very slow. This scene, like I said, is very drawn out, very intense. Because, in the theatrical cut, we kind of cut to her there, and then Ghostface appears, and then Ghostface pushes her. We have a little bit of a fight. He throws her through the window. Dead. That's it. Straight up. Very underwhelming kill in the theatrical version. It was not that great. There was a good couple of, moments of her trying to fight. But in the assembly cut, they actually had a few more fight scenes, fight choreography moments on this. And I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Because, like I said, in the theatrical cut, you know, there's a couple of moments she grabs, like, the prop swords, the prop knives, you know, the rubber ones that do nothing. And she's like, oh, shit. So she ends up throwing them, and then Ghostface is just punching her and then throwing her through a window, and that's it. She's just dead. She's just dead. Lame ass dead. And they simply cut, though. Ghostface slowly appears, of course, pushes her through the door. She rolls out. She grabs the fucking rubber machete. Tries to swing at him, and she actually gets a good, like, I'm not sure if it's a punch or a kick, but she hits him pretty fucking good at one point. He does like not a full backflip, but like a mini backflip almost, and lands on the ground as she's going through the room trying to find more fucking props to use, because again, it's all rubber props. And then Ghostface gets up from the ground, pushes the shelf on top of her, ends up, I think, punching her, throwing her through the window. She's still alive, by the way, and we see like this nice effect, even though we see it in black and white. It still looks pretty cool. She's got cuts all over her face, and she's looking up like she's about to like pull herself up out of the window. And Ghostface just grabs her and just stabs her in the back super fucking aggressively. Like, it's painful. And then, of course, he just leaves her there and walks away. And I love that. I love that extra shot of Ghostface as he's walking out. Because, again, in the theatrical cut, he just stabs her and we just linger on her body. We linger on Ghostface after he kills her, and any time you can add more scenes of Ghostface just being cool, I love it, like straight up. But after that, we then cut to Dewey and Gale having their conversation, which again with the assembly cut, there's more character development here between them, and I love it. Again, I was always hashtag cute couple goal with them, like seriously. But they can't fucking Gale up. Every time Gale's in one of these Scream movies, her character does not change at all. Her character does not develop at all. She's still making the same stupid mistakes. But in this one, Dewey calls her out for it. Straight up. As they're sitting down talking, you know, in the theatrical cut, they just start the conversation and just keep on going. In the assembly cut, Dewey's sitting there and she's just like, look, you can see I have no recording devices on me whatsoever. And she's just pouring out her phone or out her purse, and she pulls out her phone. And he's just like, what the hell is that? It's called a cell phone. Just gotta be a little jab at Dewey. Just, what is that? A cellular device, Dewey. But, you know, it kind of shows you, though, that he lacks the trust in her because she's always got a fucking camera crew around. She's always got her little posse around. So he doesn't trust to talk to her alone. Because even we saw this in the part where they met at the studio. She's recording everything in the bag, and he points that out. I forgot to mention that in the assembly cut. He points that out, and she's like, oh, yeah, I forgot. You bought me this bag. Like, straight up, you bought me this bag. So he knows she's always got some kind of device on her to listen. So for her to take out her purse and go, listen, I got nothing. Take a look, man. It shows you that she wants his trust, and you know that he doesn't have trust for her. But he still loves her, though. But without trust, there is no love. So as they're sitting down, they say, he says, I'm sure you can write another bestseller right here. I mean, come on, celebrity deaths, the exploitation of the few remaining friends you have. Which, I like that line. That's a great added line right there in the assembly cut. Because it shows you how much Gale has really hurt Dewey. Not just for the fact that she broke up with him and dumped his ass, but the fact that this is the second time she has fucked over Sydney. She's fucked over Dewey, fucked over half the people of Woodsboro. Like, straight up. And it's just... It's just great character development that I wish would have stuck in the movie. But after they end up talking about you know, that little moment, you know, the exploitation of your friends, the girl with the coffee shows up and gives her coffee. Here's another great little character development moment. So after they end up kind of chilling out, relaxing a little bit, they get the coffee. She looks at Dewey and just goes, You wanted it black, right? Oh, you remember my favorite coffee. She remembered his coffee, the way he likes his coffee. Even though they've been broken up, she still remembers he likes black coffee. That's, even though it's fucking small, even though it's fucking like the small, like again, this line is completely cut from the theatrical cut, but even though it's a small line, it still shows you Gail has feelings for Dewey and kind of feels bad for what she did, especially during the assembly scene when the guy asked her, was it worth it? And she had that post-clarity moment of, was it really worth it? This is like a continuation of that, where she loves Dewey to the point that she remembers all these little details about him, but because of who she is, she's Gail fucking Weathers. That no one stands in her way. No one's more important than her. She lost Dewey, which is sad because Dewey's a great guy. I like Dewey. If I was in the Scream universe, I would date Dewey. Dewey's a cool man. Dewey's all right. But after that, of course, they have a conversation of like, why did you leave Woodsboro? You said it was the only real place for you. And he's just like, well, why did you leave? I waited for you, Dewey. I waited, but I couldn't do it anymore. 1 year in Woodsboro, it's like 7 years anywhere else. It's horrible. But you had me. And then, of course, they argue about 60 Minutes, about how she would have been on 60 Minutes. And he was just like, because she says, I could have been the next Diane Sawyer. And what's wrong with just being Gail Weathers? What's wrong with that? Which is true. What is wrong with just being Gail Weathers, to who you are, Gail Weathers, the great Gail Weathers? Why you gotta be Diane Sawyer, I don't know. But after that conversation, she's like, do you know something? Now, here's another little scene, or a little line that was cut, and they retook it for the theatrical cut. She asked him, is there anything off the record? And he looks at her and goes, no, I don't know anything. Like, denial, boy. Don't try to say, oh, I don't know anything. No, that look on your face, buddy, says it all. And then the theatrical course, he breaks down like, do you know something? Well, off the record, just straight up. I like the fact that in the assembly cut, he kind of fights back a little bit. Like, that's him still not fully trusting her. Like, he wants to, because the fact she remember the coffee he likes, they're meeting out in public, she doesn't have a recording device on her, but he still doesn't trust her to tell her the truth until she's like, come on, seriously, you gotta know something. So, of course, he leans in, and he's just like, yeah, off the record, somebody from the studio, air quotes, called about Sydney's whereabouts at the police station. We wouldn't relinquish that. And then when a week later, it got broken into. So someone stole Sydney's file, and Dewey, being the smart ass he is, just like, nah, I already removed it before them. Like, bro's so proud of himself. He feels like a king right there. Like, he outsmarted the Ghostface for a millisecond. And then the phone rings, and he picks it up, and he's like, I gotta go, Jennifer needs me. And she's like, wait a minute, Jennifer, what? And chases after Dewey as he leaves. Then we got Jennifer's house. So, of course, they pull up, and they're arguing back and forth. Gail's just, Dewey's just like, Gail, why are you following me here? Because I'm helping out with the investigation over here. Okay, yeah? Well, you left your car running. And she's just like, oh, shit, and runs off. And he goes in there, and Jennifer's having a fucking meltdown. She is smoking a cigarette. She's like, I can handle fans. I can handle letters. I can't. Dewey, look at me. Look at me right now, okay? I haven't had one of these in months, and now I finally broke. Like, she's having a whole hissy fit. It's fucking hilarious. Granted, I get why she's freaking out, but still, it's just fucking hilarious. Like, she is a weird character. Jennifer is, like, the weirdest character ever because of the fact that she she acts like a child at some points. Like, even in this scene, after everybody leaves, she goes to Patrick Wahlberg, who, by the way, is in this movie. Patrick Wahlberg, the voice of fucking Kronk, I forgot to mention this in the cast list, is Stone. His name is Stone in this movie. And he's her bodyguard. But after, this particular scene, she just crawls into Stone's arms. Like, she literally just like a child, just, pick me up. Pick me up like a princess. So she's a very weird character, but I like her. She's kind of grown on me. I feel like she wants Gail's life, and she's jealous of Gail, so she wants to be Gail. That's why she took the role. She really, really, really wants to be Gail. But I digress, though. But Dewey comes in. She's freaking out with the cigarette. And Gail walks in. She's like, I'm with him. And she looks at Gail and she's just like, you. Like I'm ever going to win an award playing you. Like, you're lucky to even have a job. Like, damn, Gail, shots have been fired. You do not like her acting, do you? I want to say she makes a comment that she plays Gail in all three of the Stab movies. She's one of the only consistent actors from all three of the Stab movies. Because again, Tori Spelling and what's his face, I forget the actor who they name dropped that was in the movie, didn't want to come back after the sequel. Which I can't blame them, because once you find out that a cast of Stab 3 is being killed off, I'll be glad to have missed that role too. So, of course, they're just like, there's been another murder. When you mean, what happened? Who was it? And they're like, oh, it was Sarah Darling, it was at the studio. Which means they're killing people based off the script. Holy shit, what do you mean based off the script? So if that's the case, who's next? And then, of course, Jennifer grabs the script and she's just like shaking. She's holding it out to her and she's like, it's you. Like telling Gail straight up, it's you. You're next. You're the next one to die. And she's like, what? I die in this movie? What? And then Dewey's just like, all right, stay here. I got to go to my trailer and get something. I'll be right back. And then Gail, of course, follows Dewey. And she's just bitching about dying. She's like, why do I die? I'm too smart for this. Why do I end up dying? Which I find funny. It's like, that's what you're mad about, Gail? Not the fact that Ghostface has come back and is killing people based off this movie on your life. No, it's the fact that you die in this movie. You gotta love Gail's priorities here. But as they're walking up to Dewey's trailer, she's like, wait a minute, you live here? You live here with her? Like, oh, what? And he walks in, he's just like, yeah, they need a technical advisor. She felt safe with me around. She likes having me. She knows what kind of person I am. She's not self-centered like some people I know. They can see who I truly am, a very nice, soft guy. Like, just rub it in a little bit more, Dewey. Let her know that she is missing the opportunity of a lifetime being with you. But as they leave, I think they're going to the police station at this point. And as they're leaving, they see Stone. And he's like, all right, Stone, just do a perimeter search around the area. Keep Jennifer safe. You know the drill. And he's just like, hold it. I'm the bodyguard here, okay? Not you. You are the washed up, has-been, hanging-on type of guy. I am the well-known bodyguard. I've worked with Julia Roberts, so on and so forth. I don't take orders from you. Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. And here's a great moment. So after, he says, the line, I don't take orders from you, your work reads like an obituary. And the theatrical cut, Dewey's just like, whatever, man, walks the fuck off. In the assembly cut, he's just like, okay, you don't take orders from me, that's fine. 10-4, Butterfigo, or Figo, I think that's his name, Butterfigo, or something like that. I don't know, I need Bidwell to say the name for me. Apparently he was a well-known actor at the time. I think. I don't really know the connection here. This is one of those few, meta jokes I didn't get. Straight up, I didn't get this. But we now have an added scene here. So, after he says that line to Stone, he goes to his car, and we have a little jump scare of Gail hiding in the back of his car for some fucked up reason. She pops up, she's like, What do you mean I die in stab 3? Like, she's still harping on about that. And she's like, I can't die. I'm too smart to die. Yeah, and Stewie just looks at her and goes, yeah, you're right. You're too smart to die. That's why you come back. What do you mean I come back? Yeah, you come back because you're the killer. Me? I'm the killer? I'm the killer? It's Hollywood, Gail. Your creations turn on you eventually. Like, straight up, I just love that. Just, I'm the killer. Like, Gail seems so shocked that in the movie Stab, she's the killer. She's the killer. But I want to say, funny enough, in Scream 2, it might have been this movie, might have been Scream 2, but I remember somebody said in one of the scripts that got leaked out, or the scripts that floating around, Gail was supposed to be the killer in one of those scripts. It wasn't real or anything, but Gail was supposed to be the killer, so I find that a little funny. So after that, we're with Kincaid and his buddy. They're bantering back and forth, and they're chit-chatting about the case, per se. And I can't remember exactly what the piece of dialogue was. But as they're chit-chatting about this, Gail shows up at the studio, and, you know, it's just like, okay, what do you got for me? And he's just like, what is she doing here? Gail's working with us now, dude. Like, you know, she's going to help us out. And this is where the Connie line comes back in. And his buddy looks at him and goes, okay, well, if you got this, I guess I'll go dust for fingerprints with Jane Polio and Connie Chung over here. And Gail's just like, huh. Like, yeah, whatever, motherfucker. Fuck you. Like I said, he's a dick, but he ain't like a dick. He just says mean things. Because he's an asshole. And then as they're looking at the new picture of Maureen that was left at the crime scene, Dewey, of course, shows up. And he's just like, all right, I know who's next. It's got to be Jennifer. Do we have a bodyguard at her house? Well, actually, we don't know who's next because there's 3 different scripts. But you as the technical advisor should know this. And, of course, Gail hears this and looks at Dewey like, you motherfucker. You made me think I was the killer and I'm going to die in the script. Which, funny enough, I do believe that is the script they were going with. So she technically was supposed to be the killer in Stab 3. What did you think about it? Time out real quick. Alright, so you know by the time we get to Scream 4, we're at Stab 7. If Roman was supposed to make Stab 3, and then it got canceled, does that mean they rebooted it? And with a whole new cast? Like, seriously, that's a good question right there. Because we're at Stab 7 by Scream 4, so that means they had to reboot it or retry it or do something to make a Stab 3. I wonder what Stab 3 would have been. A meta joke upon the meta joke of them trying to make a movie about the Stab movie, and they end up getting killed anyway. Would that have been the movie? I have a lot of questions about the Stab franchise, by the way. Lots of questions. Great, we never get any kind of full conclusions on the Stab movies. But still, though, at least by Stab, what was it, 9, where Ghostface had the flamethrower? It gets ridiculous after a while. It really does. Foreshadowing about how crazy Scream's probably going to get later on in the franchise. But after that, we did have this little added piece of dialogue between Dewey and Gail once again. Gail tells Dewey that she is going to... she tells Dewey, she's like, why don't you go police Jennifer? I'll go talk to someone that should know what's up. You know, and the reason why this scene in particular, I like the little piece of dialogue, because not only does it show that she's kind of pissed off at Dewey for saying that shit, she gets snippy back at him, because he's been snipping towards her for this point in the movie. She gets a little snippy at him, be like, you played me, motherfucker. You made me think I was the killer. See... After that particular cut, though, in the theatrical cut, after the particular, you know, hey, about the scripts and everything. We don't know. They basically say we don't know which one the killer read. They even said that in the assembly cut, but that's basically where the theatrical cut ends at. Is we don't know what script the killer read, because we know there's three. We know there's three out there, so it depends on which one he's read. We don't know who's next because one script has Gale, one script has somebody else, the other script has somebody else, so nobody knows which one this killer read. Which they really could have played a lot more with that, especially if certain characters started dying. They're gonna be like, well, this could have been this script. Well, actually, he dies here, so what if they read this part of the script? What actually could have made it much more interesting is if parts of the script were leaked out, and so they start questioning whether or not he read the actual script or what was leaked out of the script. So that could have added a real fun dynamic right there, but they didn't go that far with it. But after, they go to, well, we got to figure out who's next on the killer's list. This is where we get a little diverge for a second. In the next scene, we go to Roman, who is bitching about how he didn't want to do horror movies, how he always wanted to make a love story, and that he thinks this whole thing's going to ruin his reputation and all of that. And the assembly cut, we got the actors all sitting down on the set again, wondering who the killer is at this point, They're just like, it could be anybody. It has to be somebody who's familiar with the set, who knows what's going on, knows their way around the set, which is true. Which is really true. Because of the fact that when Sydney shows up to do her little chase scene around the set, somebody had to know really well where everything is, because Ghostface appeared in a lot of different spaces. Now, again, we could go with the whole theory, the two people set up, which I still feel like that should have been a thing, because I find it very fucking weird. He's the only one out of the entire Scream franchise that worked alone. What are the odds of that shit? But the fact that Ghostface popped up in so many places at once, he had to be familiar with how the set's laid out. So it had to be someone who has been on this particular set and who knows how to move around these doors to get to point A to point B. And, of course, Tyson's just like, it could be anybody. It could be you, or it could be you, Tyson. Nah, the brother's never the killer. Oh, the brother always gets killed, but he's never the killer. How is that for political correctness? Tyson, 10 out of 10, man. You're my favorite actor. I feel so bad the way he died. I feel so bad. He didn't deserve it. He was a good man. He was a good man and the funny man. And yes, when we had that first conversation with them, that first time we met them as a group, they do make the joke that he's supposed to be Randy 2.0, because of the fact they go, "You're the new Randy. I'm not the new Randy." Yeah, you are. Your name is Ricky, and you work at the video store. You're the other Randy, because they make a comment. It's probably somebody mad that they killed off Randy in the second Stab movie. Which is true. There was a bunch of people who were really pissed off when Randy died in Scream 2. Because Randy was a fan favorite. Hell, he was one of my favorites. But that actually made me feared for the life of everybody in Scream 2. Because of the fact that you killed Randy. Fucking Randy. Anybody's game in this one. Unfortunately not. I think Randy was the only one to really die in the main group. I felt so bad though. I liked Randy. But after the political correctness joke, the actor who plays Dewey just goes, "Well, I know me and Angelique are safe, because if anybody read the script, they know that Dewey and Sydney over here survives to the end." Haha. And Angelique, she's uncomfortable. She doesn't want to talk about it. And she gets up and he's just like, What did I say? 3 people are dead, man. Gotta stop being like this. 3 people are dead. Which is true. He's acting too fucking casual for somebody working on a movie set where people are dying. Like, he's too casual about this. Tyson, on the other hand, he deserves to be casual because he's just the cool guy. We can't have two cool We can't have two cool guys here, okay? We can only have one or the other, and I like Tyson better. Tyson's the cool guy. But after Angelique walks off and everything, she's distraught about everything. That's when we cut to Raymond, whatever the fuck his name is. I can never remember. I know I keep second guessing myself. I want to say it's Roman. I feel like it's Roman. But then parts of me is like, no, it's Raymond. No, it's Roman. It's got to be Roman. I watched this movie like 3 times. I should know this by now. But after he's done bitching about, I always wanted to write a love story. I didn't want to do horror. Of course, the cops think he's the killer because they walk up to him. They're like, you didn't tell us that you called Sarah Darling beforehand. You know, the roommate said that was you on the phone. Of course, he's just like, it's not me. You know, it had to be somebody else. It can't be me, though. Totally not me. I'm totally not the killer. Wink, wink, wink. Nudge, 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 nudge. You know, all that shenanigans. Totally not the killer. And, of course, they're just like, well, we'll see about that. Come on. Arrest. Let's go. And he's just like, you gotta believe me, Dewey. It's not me. It's not me at all. It can't be me. Come on, man. And as they're taking him away, of course, there's a great little line. I want to say it's in both cuts of the movie, but one of the actors, I can't remember if it's the actress that's playing Gail or the actress that was playing Sydney, or I can't remember which one it was. I think it's the chick who's playing Gail. Looks up and says, remind me not to sleep with him again. Like, straight up, remind me not to sleep with him again. And then the director, of course, sees Milton sees this, and he's just like, where are you going with my director? Oh, we need to take him down to the police station and ask him questions. But right now, Mr. Milton, we need to ask you questions. Now, I'll be the one asking the fucking questions. Yo, man, don't take the attitude with me. Like, straight up, Milton's pissed about all this. And I do like the extra added dialogue they added with Milton's character here, because Milton's a dick. And the fact that in the theatrical cut, we know that, he's supposed to be the whole, the show-offy of why Sydney, air quotes, is supposed to be the killer, because he's the one that deflowered her mother and all this shit. And we don't really get to see this man too much, except for like a handful of scenes in the theatrical cut. So any extra bit of dialogue he has to make his character more fleshed out is really good. It's really great character development. Even though it's like 1 or 2 lines, it still shows you he's really into this movie and he just wants this shit to go on. He does not want this police investigation going on. But any extra piece of dialogue with him, fantastic. So, after did I skip a page? No, okay. So, after that, this is where we get another fine fucking cut. So, in the theatrical version, after we leave this scene, we cut to Sydney working at her job where Ghostface calls pretending to be her mother, is fucking with her, do what mother tells you to do, kind of like a Psycho Norman Bates moment over here. Just turn on the news, sweetie. Do what mommy tells you to do. And I didn't like the mommy issue voice. I didn't like the mommy issue voice at all. But we'll come back to that. We're going to leave that there. Put a pin on that. We'll come back to that scene when we get back to the assembly cut for that scene. Because trust me, it's one of my favorite scenes they added. So in the assembly cut, we go to the actor sulking, where Tim or Tom, whatever the fuck his name is ripping up the script, scene 37 to 42. Sydney, the murder flashback scene. Scene 15 to this. Dewey saves the day. Ripping up the paper. And the chick who plays Angelique walks up to him and it's just like, will you stop that, please? Why? You're scaring me. Will you stop with that cute, innocent actor routine? Just give it up already. You're drunk. And she walks the fuck off, and he makes a comment, and he's just like, I'm sure that cute little innocent girl, it really played off well, but I'm sure she beat the shit out of any girl that got in her way to get this role. So you asked her out, she turned you down. It has nothing to do with that. Really, bro? You don't seem that salty. Really? It has nothing to do with the fact that she turned her ass down. Even though you were all lovey-dovey on her earlier in that previous scene. So then Gail pulls up and she's eavesdropping on Dewey and the actress Jennifer's conversation. And basically what causes this is after Angelique walks off, Jennifer gets she's like, Dewey, come with me, let's go to my bedroom. And she heads to the bedroom, and now this is what's interesting. During the theatrical cut of this scene, Gail walks up, and of course she hears Dewey bitching about her, and Dewey's just going off on her. She's selfish, she's crazy, she's a hollow bitch, all this shit. And then he compliments her, and she's just like, well, it sounds like you still like her. Did I mention the fact that she's self-centered, and she's all into herself? And then that's when Stone shows up and pulls Gail to the side and runs off. Which again leaves it very, very obvious that Dewey is still very pissed at Gail and wants nothing to do with her. Now, it's a bit different in the assembly cut. And when I mean a bit different, I mean camera angles, dialogue, and the way it is set up. Because some lines are swapped around, but because these lines are swapped, it adds more character moments about Dewey towards Gail. Let me explain. So they go into the bedroom and Jennifer is looking for fucking cigarettes. She's just like, why am I better at hiding cigarettes than finding cigarettes? And of course they're talking about Gail, and she makes the comment, she's just a cold, heartless bitch, Dewey. You deserve better. And he's just like, but she's not heartless. She just hides it away. It makes her feel better because showing her heart makes her feel weak. And then she sits down. She's like, well, it sounds like you're still in love with her. In love with her? And of course, in the theatrical cut, he goes back to insulting her. But after Jennifer says that during this assembly cut, it sounds like he's still in love with her. He kind of sits there and looks at Jennifer's picture thinking of Gail because she looks very identical to what Gail looked like in the first movie, like straight up. And as he's looking at the picture, it's almost like he's contemplating whether or not he still has these feelings for her because, again, he's not very trusting of her. Without trust, there is no love. But he still has emotional attachment to her because, come on, he saved her life multiple times. They even say this in the scene, like, how many times have you saved her life? Too many to count, which is true. But she has saved his life too. And they've both been through 2 traumatic events together, both survived almost being killed. It's, and they've had a cute little romance and everything. It's built up from Scream 1 all the way to here. It's a beautiful romance. And it pisses me off that come Scream 5, they are divorced and they don't speak. And he watches her on the fucking news. Like, he watches her every morning. It breaks my heart. Truly it does. I was so excited coming into the 4th movie and seeing that they're actually still together. They're actually married and still together. I was so happy. And then come that 5th movie, they're just like, yeah, you see this beautiful happiness that you waited 3 movies to see and you finally got, and we could continue on with this? Nah, let's just write her back like she was in Scream 2. She betrayed everybody, fucked everybody over, everybody hates her, she gets punched in the face, it's good. We gonna kill Dewey later anyway, make it less emotional impactful for her. Cause straight up, you could say, oh, she was so emotional, upset about that. I feel like if they were married still, so much better. So much fucking better. So, after, he sits there and contemplates, what she says, this is where I think Jennifer wants to really be Gail here. Because she looks at Dewey and she's like, Dewey, I like having you around here, and this movie may not have worked out, but I'm sure there's other shows out there, other movies out there that need a cop tech like you around. And he kind of looks at her, and before he can say anything, and the theatrical cut is Stone saying, "Hey, what do you call him? Dewdrop, your girlfriend's here," or something like that. And the assembly cut, it's one of the, I think it's like Tim or Tom, or whatever the fuck his name is. It's like, "Hey, Gail," or "Hey, Jennifer, you got somebody here." And, of course, it's Gail, and he's like, "Look who I found skulking around outside." I wasn't skulking. I was not skulking. Sure you weren't, Gail. Sure you weren't. But, of course, she's like, "What are you doing here? I need to talk to you." "All right, fine. We'll go and talk." And, of course, there's a little bit of a banter. It's in the theatrical cut, too, where he's just like, "I caught her at the bedroom window." Yeah, a bedroom that you seem awfully comfortable in. Like, she is just jealous. Like, oh, like, she cannot picture Dewey being with anybody else. But Dewey can't be with her, though, because she's too cool for that. But, they go to talk, and then, of course, Jennifer's just like, "So, if she was by my window, where were you at? Where were you? Why weren't you doing your job?" And then we have this weird cut of looking at Angelique being a little suspicious. I'm not gonna lie, she looks a little sus, because she's just like, no, you're just looking around. Super suspicious. Which I don't get why they didn't add, I don't get why they didn't just stick with the whole Angelique being the killer thing. Still would have added so much better layers. So, they go into the bedroom, they start chit-chatting about, about, why you here, what you want. And before he can get there, or before she can say anything, he just like starts searching her bag yet again, because he doesn't trust her. So he's like, "Okay, where's the listening device at? I have none." "Okay, spread them." And he starts like frisking her down. Just and then she says like the funniest like comeback to this. She's like, oh, it's like we never broke up. Still got those cuffs?" I love it because he does not trust her. He wants to know what the fuck she's here, but she's still flirting so hardcore with Dewey. It's fucking hilarious. But again, character moments, character development, characters. That's just it. This is good writing right here. This is good editing right here. Why can't we have more of this in Scream 3? I do not know why. But after that, and after that, "Oh, you still got those cuffs?" He's just like, "All right, what are you doing here?" Roman was released because his phone was cloned. It wasn't his phone, and we have another picture. Well, who's the picture? Of course, it's Marie, Marine, and the photo is just another little headshot or whatever. And he's just like, "All right, well, that's great to know. Bye. See you later." And she's just like, wait. Why don't we just head to the studio and see what they know about this whole situation? Because it's true, I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to Hollywood, I get a lot of people use fake names and stage names and shit. But if you're seeing someone who has a rather obvious headshot, and it's got listing of movies, by the way. I want to say, I know one of the pictures they find, I think it's later on after the house explosion scene, it says "I kill her," but when they're getting the pictures, in the actual archives room, the pictures had the listing of the movies on here. So again, it goes back to somebody in the actual set, not set design, but set themselves, somebody who can get into the files themselves, had to be be the killer in this movie. And it makes sense. But they want to go to the studio and then see what's going on and everything. So after, as they're, making phone calls, "Hey, we gotta get in touch with somebody about this, because what are the odds, it's Maureen Prescott. We gotta figure this out. Let's go ahead and call the studio, see what the hell they know." While that's going on, We then cut to Stone going around the property, making sure everybody's okay. He goes into Dewey's trailer, and of course he gets a phone call. He picks it up, and it's Dewey, air quotes, because we know it's Ghostface. And he's just like, Stone, where are you? I am in your trailer, Dewdrop. Where are you at? I need to get back to the house. I gotta get back to the studio real quick. Something's come up. And in this whole conversation, by the way, this motherfucker steals this man's change. Not all of it, though, so I'll give him props. He didn't steal all of it. He just stole the quarters. Fucking asshole. Reminds me of my stepbrother. That dude would do that. He would go into my change drawer, and he would just straight up steal. He'll leave the pennies, the dimes, the nickels, but the motherfucker would steal all my goddamn quarters. Pissed me off. I like my quarters. I played the claw machine a lot when I was a kid, so I would save my quarters up to play the claw machine. Motherfucker stole my quarters. So I felt mad that fucking Stone was stealing Dewey's shit. Now, we do have a bit of a difference here. Again, because theatrical cut has less gore and violence. There's a bit more here. And there's, again, more Ghostface being malicious as fuck. So, as he's on the phone with him, he says that line. I forgot this line was here. I originally thought they added to the assembly cut, but it's in the theatrical cut too. And it's a mean fucking line. Like, this is a mean line. Like, I can't believe Stone would say this. Like, this is just fucking cruel. But he's just like, yeah, no can do, Dewdrop. I'm checking around to make sure there's no killers around. Don't need a killer in here to kill you like they killed your little sister. Like, bro, that's cold. That's fucking cold. Why you gotta bring Tatum in all this shit? What did Tatum ever do to you? Fuck you, Stone. I'm glad you die right here. Which is great, by the way, because when he does die, it's fantastic. In the assembly cut, that is. So in the theatrical cut, he says that line, looking for a killer, so he doesn't kill you like he killed your little sister. And of course, the voice as Dewey says, you know what, Stone, that makes me really fucking angry. And he turns into the Ghostface voice, and of course he stabs Stone in the back. They fight a little bit. He pushes him against the counter, grabs the frying pan, knocks him about a little bit, and then just walks away, right? In the assembly cut, however, he says the line, and as Dewey, he just says, check again. Or, wait, is that what he said? Yeah, check again. And Ghostface comes behind him, stabs him in the back. They scuffle a little bit. He gets thrown against the sink. And as he's trying to, punch Ghostface into the sink, Ghostface grabs the knife from his back and starts twisting it. And I love that, by the way. I love that. Just the fucking twisting of the knife. He then eventually gets stoned off of him, pushes him into the cabinet, which makes the knife go further into his back. He falls down. He grabs the frying pan. Boom, boom. Hits him twice. Then he leans in, still in the Dewey voice, by the way. Still in the Dewey voice. Leans in and just says, say hi to sis for me. And then walks the fuck off. Like, that is cold as fuck, man. That is malicious as fuck. Just, you gonna say that line about Tatum. Say hi to her, you bitch. Just say hi to her in the afterlife. Oh, I love it. So then we cut to Dewey, looking for everybody because, shit's going down. The force is strong with them. They know shit's happening around them, but they don't see the shit happening around them. So they start looking for everybody. Of course, we have the classic jump scare where everybody keeps popping out, scaring the shit out of Dewey as he's holding a gun. Just, Angelique, Tyson, actually, no, Tyson's not there at the moment. He's like, Angelique, Tom, where are you? Like, everyone's just coming in and out, scaring the shit out of them. And they're like, what's going on? I don't know. And then Stone appears from the front door, because the front door got involved in this jump scare moment too, because why the fuck not? Everyone else is getting scared. Might as well throw in a cheap door swinging open scare. And then Stone appears, and he ends up falling on the floor right in front of everybody. And they run over to him, and they're just like, oh my god, he's dead. He's dead. Holy shit. Get in the house. Everyone get in the house, and then run back into the house. And as they run to the house, of course, the lights go out, and the fax machine. No, wait, hang on. The lights go out, so they run to the back of the backyard. Then and then the phone starts ringing. So everyone starts reaching for the phone, like, not mine, not mine, not mine. The fax machine. Now, here's something funny about this scene. There was one added line that had me just chuckling my ass off. Basically, they run inside, they start reading the script that's being sent to them via the fax machine, and of course she's like, okay, we're in the house, the killer has just cut the power, and the killer will show mercy to whoever, and as they're reading it, she realizes they can't finish the script because there's no more paper in the fax machine. So she's like, God damn it, where's the paper? And she quickly grabs some more paper, throws it in, and of course it prints out the rest of the script. I just love that because of the fact that they're in a situation where they're like on a time crunch here, like we gotta hurry, we gotta get the fuck out of this house, but she wants to see how this ends. But they're out of fucking paper. Like, what are the odds of that shit? It's almost like Friday the 13th Part 6 again, where it's just like, this is not happening, cranks up vehicle. Yeah, you're right, it's not. It's one of those moments. But except it's the opposite effect. Just, oh my God, where's more paper? So they end up, putting it in. They're like, listen, guys, if the killer is telling us to stay inside, we need to go outside, because that means the killer is inside, so we need to go. And eventually they pull them all in. Everyone's being dramatic. I need to finish the script. I need to know what happens next. And of course, Tom's just like, I just need to know. And he runs back in all dramatic and shit. No one stops him, of course. We stop the girls, not him, though. So he goes in, reads the script, and he's just like, show mercy to... Time out real quick, by the way, before I continue this bullshit thing. If he's trying to read the script in the dark, why didn't he just go outside? Why didn't he grab that flashlight Jennifer had? I had many questions on why he even went back into the house to begin with, but my main question is, why was he trying to read this piece of paper in the middle of fucking dark? It would have made so much more sense just to walk outside and read it. Just saying. But as he's reading it, of course, he's like, the killer will show mercy to whoever, and he grabs a Zippo. The one time someone brings a fucking Zippo, grabs the Zippo, starts reading, and he's like, the one time someone who smells the gas first? Boom! Explosion. The house goes up in flames. We get the action-packed scene of just the multiple times we see the same house, which is a model house, by the way. Just boom, boom, boom. And, of course, the rest of them jump off the side of the balcony like it's Charlie's Angels over here. They all come tumbling down the hill. Everybody's okay. They're banged up, but they're okay. And as they're fucking looking around... Of course, Dewey's the first to wake up and hears everyone screaming, Dewey, where are you, Dewey? And he's just like, Gail, Jennifer? And he walks out. And, of course, he finds Gail, who's just standing there, and Ghostface is behind her. And he's like, Gail, look out. And then pulls out his gun and starts shooting at Ghostface. Boom, 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 just going ham. And, of course, there's this really nice shot of, like, Ghostface, like, being thrown up against the vehicle because he's being shot so hard. And he falls and he rolls under and he runs off. And Dewey being Dewey, classic Dewey, as he's shooting, because he's on a hill, they magically make him lose the ability to have balance, and he falls down the hill, even more now. Ends up, standing up, and he's just like, oh my God, Gail, are you okay? Are you okay? And, of course, he started looking around, like, where'd he go? I know I shot him a couple of times. And he looks at Gail, and, he's like, hey, are you all right? Yeah, I'm fine, thanks to you. And it's like a moment where it looks like they're about to kiss. And of course, fucking Jennifer ruins this beautiful moment of them kind of rekindling their love right here. The only bit of love we see in the theatrical cut, by the way. But as they're... about to have that kiss, Jennifer shows up and she's just like, and where were you, Dewey? You're supposed to protect me. How fucking dare you? And she punches Dewey for no goddamn reason besides she's jealous. And then Gail punches her back, right? And as she's on the ground, blood dripping down her chin, she just looks at Gail and goes, ah, my lawyer like that. Not as much as I did. Like, I'm with Gail. Not as much as I did. And then Angelique appears, and she starts looking around, and everyone seems kind of suspicious of her because she got further away from everybody than everybody else. Like, she, like, quote-unquote, separated from the group. And we all know the rules about separation from groups. Well, after that, of course, everyone's a little, like, weary of Angelique. They're like, oh, my God, are we safe? And even Gail asked that, are we safe? Are we safe? And they find the picture of Maureen. They picked it up, and the back of it says, I killed her. Basically owning up to the fact, I killed her. And the theatrical cut, at this point, after, because remember, we done skipped a scene right here. We went from, Sydney talking with Ghostface as her mother to, we're at Kincaid's office. They're in there chit-chatting about, where's Sydney? Tell me where Sydney's at. So, this is a scene that was added that I fucking love. I love this Ghostface. I love this scene. I really wish they would have kept this moment. This was the moment I wish they would have kept because it shows you how aggressive Ghostface is and how much he really, really wants to come at Sydney and how personal this is. This feels personal. So, Sydney's working. She gets a call. And, of course, there's a girl, and she's like, Laura, oh, my God, I think I've done something terrible. What happened? What have you done? I think I killed somebody. What do you mean? What do you mean you think you killed somebody? I think I killed someone. Well, I think the person you need to talk to is the police, not me. And she's like, no, I need to talk to you, Laura. And it becomes Ghostface right there, just straight up, just like the push of a button, just boom, Ghostface. And she's just like, oh shit, I'm gonna call the police. And then Ghostface says like, I love this shit. So she's like, I'm gonna call the police. And Ghostface is like, the cops can't do anything. The Terminator mowed down an entire precinct to get to Sarah Connor. Hannibal Lecter had the police wheel him out of his own cell wearing the cop's sliced off face. The police are no match for your average psychopath. Haven't you learned the rules, Sydney? Who are you? And he goes, I know everything about you, Sydney. Turn on the news. Now, I will say the news broadcast is different compared to the one we saw in the theatrical cut, because at this point in the news, the house has exploded, Tom's dead, the bodyguard's dead, so they're reporting on that. During the theatrical cut of the particular news one, they're talking about, I think, Sarah Darling's murder on the set or something like that. They haven't brought up the whole thing with the explosion because that hasn't happened yet. So the news broadcast is different here, and I do like that little added touch right there. And as they're seeing in the news, the fucking house exploding and all her friends almost nearly died and shit. She, of course, she's like, oh my fucking God, like she's panicking, like you can see it on her face, it's pure utter panic, like oh my God. And then Ghostface says, it always comes down to the hero and the killer at the end. And it's just a matter of time. The question is how many of your friends are going to show up at the morgue before we're there? And she's like, who is this? Tell me who this is. And he's just like, Movies 101, Sid. The killer is just a dark reflection of the hero. And then hangs the phone up. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He doesn't hang the phone up yet. After he says that, she says, just leave me alone. And then he gets aggressive. He gets really aggressive. He just goes, you don't tell me what to do, you little bitch. You hear me? It's my movie now. Then he hangs up the phone. Then he hangs up the phone. And, of course, Sydney freaks the fuck out. She grabs her gun, she starts locking the doors, and this is a beautiful moment of watching her just spiral in depression, because she has a moment where she leans up against her counter and she starts crying. Because again, Ghostface just personally called her. It's one thing to see this shit on the news. When the killer himself calls you, spiral, man, spiral. And I just love that. I just love that scene. The scene, again, how great Ghostface is. The reference, the dialogue, just the aggressive tone. Watching Sydney freak out at the end of this phone call, showing that she is feeling this shit. She's weak about this. She's not a weak character by no means, especially by the end of this movie. She kicks some fucking ass. But it shows you that she's not this strong, independent woman kind of character. She has her weak moments. And this is her weak moment. And that shows you how human she is. And that's just well-written characters right here. Well-written. I know I keep saying this a lot, but it irks the fuck out of me that in the assembly cut, they're written so well. Why is it this assembly cut that has never made it out anywhere in the world until just recently can have better writing than the actual piece of shit we got in the actual release? Like, straight up. And I know, I shouldn't be calling it a piece of shit, but to me, it's a piece of shit movie. It's just bad. It's a bad Scream movie. Damn it, my batteries are dead. Fuck it. So, after that, we then cut to the police station, and there's a little added moment here with Tyson, where Tyson's being questioned, and they're just like, he was like, I was invited to the party, and then when I showed up, it's a fucking bonfire or anything. Yeah, man, we just need to ask you a question. Why don't you ask me questions about the OJ murders? I'm sure you haven't figured that one out yet. Which I think I get why they cut that particular scene out. And I think it's because by the time they released this movie, I think the OJ trial was done and over with. And he was found innocent. I'm not even going to go there, okay? I'm not even going to go there. That's a crime drama to have its own conversation for. I'm not going to go there. But the point is, I'm pretty sure they ended up just cutting that because the trial already happened. And he was found, I think he was acquitted. But after that, we then see Dewey sitting there, and he's just like, yeah, it's not Tyson. He doesn't fit the profile. Well, we got to check anyway. And then Kincaid thinks that there might be a third killer involved because of the fact that he's like, well, Sydney's been wrong before. What if she's wrong now, okay? What if there's another killer that we're just not seeing here? And he's just like, it can't be, it's got to be one or two killers. There's always two killers. It's always two killers. And again, it blows my mind. This is the only movie where there's one. But, of course, Kincaid and Dewey go at it because he's just like, tell me where Sydney's at. And he's like, I don't even know where she's at. And even if I did know it, I couldn't tell you. And at some point, the Kincaid's partner actually has another little added line here. He's sitting in the back somewhere, and they make a mention about they're bringing Milton in because he was working in the movies back then. I want to say that line in particular got cut because we make a reference to Milton working with Maureen later on in the movie with the Carrie Fisher cameo, which, by the way, still in the assembly cut. So, as they're arguing back and forth, about Dewey doesn't want to bring Sydney in. And he's like, oh, would you want to take that under a polygraph test? Is that a threat? Oh, you know it when it's a threat. And during the assembly cut, I think I said this earlier in the podcast, but during the assembly cut, when he says that, he pats him on the chest, like, kind of buck him up, like, ruffle his feathers up a little bit. And the theatrical cut, it makes Dewey look stupid. Because he's like, oh, you know it's a threat when it's a threat. And it takes Dewey like a second to realize what the fuck he just said. And that's when he's like, so is that a threat? Like, bro, that's like a wrong ding moment right there. But he's just like, just tell me where Sydney's at. Can you help me out with that? So Dewey ends up going outside to make a phone call to Sydney. And of course, she's not answering because she's right behind him. And of course, they hug, and she's like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah." And this is another little added line, by the way. But he's like, "Yeah, Dewey, I have a TV, and you and Gail, is she all right?" "Yeah, no, she's fine. She's fine. She's Gail. She's typical Gail." So, of course, he's like, "Well, what are you doing here? Why are you here? You're supposed to be, like, not locked up, but, hiding out." And she's like, "Dewey, the killer called me." "When? When did the killer call you?" I think it was, like, that night before. He said, "Oh, last night he called me, and that's why I'm here. I figured if he already called me, I might as well be here with my friends, where I'm safe, where I got people. We gotta do this together. I want to know what's going on." That line right there, "we gotta do this together, I need to know what's going on," that's another added little line right there. And that, for some fucked up reason, got cut out. I guess I actually don't know why, to be honest. I don't know why a lot of the dialogue between Dewey and Sid got cut out. Because, again, we know they're good friends. They just saw each other, and this is like a little heart-to-heart moment. Like, I'm here because I need you, Dewey. You're my friend, and we gotta do this together. Why is that cut out? I don't know. That's more character development you just tossed out the window, Mr. Editor. Get your shit together, man. I don't care. Put it in the shit box, take it to the shit museum. I don't care. Just get your shit together, man. But after that, of course, he takes Sydney to the Kincaid's office. Gail sees her, and she's like, "Oh my God, Sydney," and he hugs her. And again, another added line right here. She hugs her, and she's like, "You're not going to break Dewey's heart again, are you?" "Oh, I'm sorry. That was wrong of me." Like, she straight up just says that. I love that. I love it. I love it. Like, 100%, I love that shit. So after that, of course, she introduces Kincaid, and he's just like, yes, Sydney says that the killer called her. When did this happen? Of course, they go back and forth, and they ask, well, how did she get her number? Now, I forgot to mention this earlier, but during the scene after Raymond gets arrested for questioning, or not really arrested, but taken in for questioning, Kincaid asks Dewey to borrow his cell phone, and of course he grabs his cell phone, does whatever he's got to do, and give it back to Dewey. Well, during this particular scene, this comes back. He is just like, wait a minute, how did someone get Sydney's number? Alright, Dewey, do you have Sydney's number in your memory? He starts thinking about it like he's literally citing the number in his own head. She's like, no, Dewey, in your phone. Is it in your phone memory? Yeah, it is. Well, who used your phone? Well, you, and also you. Let's damn, call out the cop, why don't you? Call out Kincaid. Now, this is where it kind of delves a little bit yet again. As they're fucking checking the phone, Dewey says a little line right here. He's like, damn cell phones. Wait a minute, didn't you buy me this cell phone? Look at that Gail. Like, again, another cute little banter between them. Would have been real nice to see that in this movie. But what makes this different is Kincaid wants to go to the set where the photos have been taken to take a look around. And originally, Sydney just goes, yeah, can I come with you? And he's like, are you sure? Yeah, all right, let's go. And in the assembly cut, though, he's just like, all right, I'm going to go to the studio. Sydney, you stay here under police protection. I'll be right back. Am I under arrest? No. Am I a suspect? No, not at this moment. Then I'm coming with you. Are you sure about that? Yes, this is what I want to do. I want to see, if you're going to go, I want to see it too. And he's like, all right. I like that because it shows you now more character development. She's here now. She's got her friend. She's got Dewey. She's got this really cute cop, Kincaid, with her. She feels confident and she wants to solve this problem. And so she's being smart about it. She's like, hey man, am I a suspect? Am I being arrested? No? Then let me go with you. I like that little extra bit of dialogue because it gives them more of a witty banter between her and Kincaid. And I like it better than the whole straightforward, just let me go with you. Like, there's really no rhyme or reason for you to just go with them. And the assembly cut, it makes more sense because, she's just like, with all that character development we had earlier at this point, it really just rounds the character out. It really does. So, they end up going to the studio to find everything out. And of course, Kincaid and his partner are chit-chatting. And he's like, alright, I'm going to the studio, man. You just keep an eye out on Sydney. I know where you're going. You ain't going to that studio. You're going to get her flowers, right? Going to get her chocolates. Shut up and just go. Watch her. And then as they kind of part ways, Gail, Dewey, and Sydney show up, and they're looking around like that's where one of those pictures were taken at. And then we have a great, beautiful moment. Martha shows up. And for those of y'all who don't know who Martha is, let me refresh your memory. Martha is Randy's sister. And I love her. I love her. She's a great actress. She was cute in Hostel Part 2, by the way. Fantastic actress. But she shows up, and of course she says this funny ass line because they see her, and for some fucked up reason, Kincaid's partner and like 3 cops rush at her about to pull their guns out, and she's like, it's cool, I'm only 17, guys. Like, I'm only 17. And of course Sydney and all of them like, we know her, don't shoot her, please, she's good, she's cool. And Gail's like, do we know her? Yeah. If you tell me that's his girlfriend, I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face. No, that's Randy's sister. Oh, his sister? Oh my god. So, this is where we have a bit more extra beautiful moments with Randy. I love Randy. He was one of my favorite characters in the Scream franchise. I was very disappointed to see him die, but it was a real treat to see him come back in this movie. Now, in the theatrical cut, he gets straight to the point. Of course, there's a little witty banter about, damn, I shouldn't have lost my virginity to Karen at the video store, because of course he's like, if you're watching this video, that means I've died. I unfortunately did not make it past the Windsor College murders, and now we're here. I knew I should have lost my virginity to Karen at the movie store, and then of course Dewey's just like, Karen? Creepy Karen? Yeah, don't say that, man. Okay, it was late night, we're stocking up videos of the porno section. Just, don't judge me. Like he was prepared for Dewey or somebody to say something about creepy Karen. But of course he goes into the rules, the killer's superhuman, can't be killed unless you cryo freeze them, blow them up, all this shit. Anybody could die, including the main characters. Sid, that means you too. And then of course the past will come back to haunt you. No matter what you think you buried, it will always come back. And then of course it's Godspeed, good luck, and I'll see some of y'all soon, because if I didn't make it, I know some of y'all won't. And he ends the video call. Very short, very sweet. A little bit of Randy. In the assembly cut, however, we get a lot of Randy. We get so much Randy, it made my side hurt. So, after the creepy Karen joke, Randy just goes, wait a minute, am I really dead? I can't believe this. I can't believe this is so stupid. Why kill me? I'm the voice of the audience here. The one guy who could tell you the rules. You gonna kill him? Who's the brain trust? Who's the brain trust that came up with that? This is crazy. How do you stay alive, Dewey? If you're watching this tape in college, and this is a nice little nod, by the way, because he's making this particular tape at the Windsor College during the murders there. So this is, I guess for future reference kind of things. But there's a nice little callback to Mickey right here. He's like, if you're watching this tape at Windsor College, that means the killer is still loose. So my money, it's Mickey. Man, that guy always gave me the creep. He wrote this horrible paper on why Superman 2 is better than Superman 1. And then he goes on to some more rules, and he's just like, all right, the same rules apply if you're dealing with the same stuff with sequels, more blood, more bodies, very boring, very vain of horror. The normal rules of surviving still apply. No sex, no drugs, no drinking. And new for the millennials out there, don't smoke. It's a bad habit. Don't do it. And don't be alone. Don't be alone. Don't be watching this alone. Name one movie where 2 people died in the same room together. And of course, Martha's just like, Alien, The Thing, and then Randy, without missing a beat, just like, those are monster movies, okay? That's a different videotape. And then, what's also funny is that you see Dewey and Gale, they're taking fucking notes over here. Like, Dewey's got a pad and pencil, and he's writing all this shit down, and Gale's got her little recording device going on. And of course, he adds on, the continuation. If you're dealing with a killer with a different backstory and a different past, we're in a trilogy now, and a trilogy is different. That's rare in a horror movie. A trilogy set never really happens here, and it keeps going on about. Of course, the rules. And like I said, we just went over the rules during the theatrical cut, so it doesn't really change much in the assembly cut when it comes to the main rules. And then, of course, he says, "See you soon." For some of y'all, I didn't make it. Shit, I can't believe I got killed before episode 1. I hope this sucked. And then he ends the video call. And now, I get why they cut that last line out about episode 1. Because, again, this movie was supposed to come out in 1999, the same year episode 1 came out. And I want to say it was supposed to be a few months before episode 1 came out. Unfortunately, episode 1 was already out by 2000, so that joke was now irrelevant. Which fucking sucks, because that shit was funny, and he was so on point. According to some people. Now, I may be one of those few people in the world. I know y'all are getting ready to throw those tomatoes, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to say something so brave and yet so controversial. Episode 1 wasn't that bad. I said it. I fucking said it. Star Wars Episode 1, it's not the worst piece of shit in the world. I liked it. It had its moments I didn't really care for, but I liked it overall. I liked a lot of the fight choreography scenes in it. I liked a lot of the dialogue. Ewan McGregor was always hot in that movie. It's fucking Liam Neeson playing Qui-Gon Jinn. What could we go wrong? And come on, we had some iconic lines in that movie. Well, you were right about one thing, Master. What was that? The negotiations were short. Like, fucking great, man. Fucking great. I love it. So, yeah, I would be that weird person. I liked episode 1. I liked episode 1 more than episode 2. And I'm going to be honest, when it came to episode 2, it's mainly because that movie is so boring to me. But that's a different topic for a different story on a different podcast, because, unfortunately, I do not talk about fun sci-fi movies on here. We talk about horror on here. But after that joke, though, of course, the tape ends, and Martha leaves. She's like, "Oh, guys, we miss you in Woodbury. Come back, tell your mother I said hi." And as she leaves, Gail's just like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna go check something out, so I will be right back. Do you want us to come with you?" "No, I'm cool. I can work solo." Still hasn't changed. Gail still hasn't changed. She walks off. And, of course, as she's trying to get into the archive, she gets spooked by Jennifer. And Jennifer, she's like, "What are you doing here?" "What am I doing here?" "Well, the killer's coming after you." So, how does she put this? I have no movie, no house, no bodyguard, and I'm in danger. Someone's trying to kill me because they're trying to kill you, so they're trying to kill me. So I figure if I stay with you and the killer does happen to show up, they'll kill me. Or they'll kill you instead of me because you are you and I am me, or some bullshit like that. She goes on a little weird tangent for a minute about just hanging out with Gail because she's afraid the killer's going to kill her. And she's just like, "Okay, what the fuck ever, And, well, how else are we supposed to get in here?" "Well, I have an idea." "What do you mean?" "Well, I am Gail fucking Weathers." And she pulls out a little card and slides it so they can get into the archives. They carry on down. And she's, of course, like, "I don't like basements. The basements are creepy." And then we come around and we get my favorite fucking cameo ever. I love this meta cameo. I fucking love this cameo. Carrie Fisher's in this fucking chair sitting there in the archive smoking a cigarette. And they're just like, "Hi, we need your help. We need to know more information about Maureen Prescott. I'm working with the police department for this case. Can you help us out?" They look at her, look at the picture. "Oh my God, are you?" "No, I am not Carrie Fisher." But the voice, the hair, the eyes. "Yep, And this is another added line by that Carrie Fisher says, "Yep, my tits look like her too. You want to see?" I don't know why they cut that line. I love that line. Just, oh my god, you look just like her. The hair, the eyes, and I got her tits too. But uncanny. Yeah. You know, I was up for the part of Princess Leia. But you know who got it? The one that fucked George Lucas. She continues to smoke that cigarette. I love that. I just love that scene. Just the meta-ness right there. Just, who got the part? The one that fucked George Lucas. But there's a lot. And I like that particular line because of the fact that that was Hollywood back in the day. They even make mention about this in the movie, that Hollywood in the 70s and 80s was very, very, very sleazy. Like, it wasn't about your acting talents or your chop. It was about who you knew, who you know, and who you fuck. That's the sad part about Hollywood. And I want to say it still, to a degree, kind of still plays out this way. Not as bad as the 70s and 80s, but the 70s was really bad about that. About, hey, you want to be this part? Zip. Well, this dick ain't gonna suck itself. You really want it? You gotta earn it. People were just like that. But after that joke though about about Carrie Fisher, you know, losing out, about her losing to Carrie Fisher because she fucked George Lucas. She's just like, but Gail's just like, all right, well, we need to know information. Well, I'm sorry, I can't give you that information. Well, would you do it for the president? And throws a $50 bill on the table in front of her, and Carrie Fisher looks at it and goes, yeah, the president of the studio. And Jennifer looks at Gail and is just like, oh, what are you, a reporter for Woodsbury High? Pulls off her ring, throws it on the table. That's worth $2,000. Now, are you going to help Gail Weathers out or not? So then we cut to the scene where they're looking through the archives, and of course, and as they're looking through it, Carrie Fisher says this really nice line where she's like, yeah, a lot of people don't look at the nobodies, but I have a soft spot for the underdogs of the world. She doesn't say that exactly, but she does say a line referencing the fact that she respects the no-name actors that show up, make a handful of like crappy movies, and then just they never get anywhere in the game, so they leave off. But as she's going through, she's like, "You're not gonna find anything on Maureen Prescott, but Rena Reynolds, you will." And it gives her the fucking piece of paper, and as they're looking at it, Jennifer's just like, oh, that's interesting. Of course, a stage name. And Carrie Fisher's like, you should know about a stage named Judy. I forget what she said her last name was, but as soon as she says her name, fucking Gail dies laughing. And then the assembly cut, if you're looking at Jennifer, you see her mocking Gail after Gail laughs. She's like being a child, like, doing that shit. In the theatrical cut, she's just, whatever. But in that assembly cut, she's mocking and teasing Gail behind her back. It's fucking hilarious. But as they're going through the movies, they're like, not Dawn of the Dead, but like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, some bullshit like this. Ghost of the Tin Can. What kind of movies are these? Oh, those are some horror movies directed by Milton. Wait, what did you say? Milton. He worked on those movies. And that's when they're like stunned, like, oh my god. Now I will say, in the assembly cut, there's this really weird fade out with them leaving from the from the studio, and it's literally just a fade out to the next scene. And of course, it's another moment where things kind of change a little bit. There's an added scene here where we get the witness Ghostface putting everybody's voices on the little box and everything. We actually get to see him put it on the box, and I think it's kind of goofy. I get why they cut it, because it's interesting to see how he did it. I just still find it goofy though, like straight up, it's still fucking goofy. But he's testing out the little. You see that he's you ripped the voices from phone calls and everything. And as Sydney's voice, he goes, "What's your favorite scary movie?" And then we cut to Dewey and Sydney outside. They're chit-chatting about everything. She's like, "All right, Dewey, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back." Ooh, don't say that. You're right. I'm sorry. Right. I'll take my internal time. And she goes into the bathroom. Now, this is where the theatrical cut comes in of her going to the bathroom, washing her face off. She's shaking a little bit. She's trying to control herself. And then we hear something in the bathroom. She goes to investigate, and it's fucking Angelique hiding in the toilet with a ghost face mask and some other props. And this is where we get a little added extra dialogue between Sydney and fucking Angelique over here. And she's like, oh my God, Sydney Prescott. Sydney, I play you. Well, I did play you in the movie, but I was going to play you in the movie, but oh my God, it's you. It's the 90s were the victim decades, and you were the poster girl. I really wish it would have worked out, though. Like she seems very fascinated with Sydney, and of course, Sydney's pretty cool and chill about the situation. Especially after seeing all the Ghostface stuff, she's just like, what is this? Souvenirs. I figured if I may not get lucky and picked in another movie, so I kind of want memories of Hollywood again. And she's just like, oh yeah, memories, right. Well, I gotta go, but it was nice meeting you. And she runs off, and Sydney, sees she left her hairbrush, and in the theatrical cut, she goes, wait, and then goes after her. And the assembly cut, for some reason, she calls her Sydney. She's like, wait, Sydney! Angelique, goes looking for her. And, of course, Angelique disappears. We're on the set, and we get to see Sydney looking around, taking in the set, just taking in this moment, because she probably hasn't been in Woodsboro in a good fucking minute, so seeing an exact replica. Now, here's something I have a problem with the set. I noticed this particular set, it's supposed to be Stab 3, right? It's supposed to be Stab 3. Why do we have Randy's house in Stab 3? Why do we have a recreation of Tatum's death on this set, which happened in Stab 1, by the way? Food for thought. Just food for thought. Why is this still here? Like, I get, certain sets could be reused and repurposed, but this set is the exact same set I think we saw or was even mentioned in, like, Scream 2 or something like that. But it's literally the fucking ending of Scream 1 over here. It's literally the same set. We got, again, Tatum's, like, you don't see any bodies or props or anything, but you see where Tatum went through the doggy door and there's blood and shit where she got squished through the doggy door. But yeah, food for thought. Food for thought. So Sydney starts looking around. Of course, she's overwhelmed by everything. Flashbacks are going on in her head. She hears voices. It's Billy and Stu fucking mocking her. And then, of course, when she gets to her room, that's the replica of her room, she hears, when Billy snuck into her room at the beginning of Scream. And, she's just like, listen, I know, I never thought about sneaking through your bedroom window. Would you settle for a PG-13 relationship? She even says that line out loud, and, she then starts sensing danger or presence or something. So she goes to the closet door, does a little locking mechanism she does in Scream 1, and she starts backing up because she feels like somebody else is there. She's very thrown into her emotions at this point. But, of course, she is right to be on edge because Ghostface appears up behind her, yeets her out the window. They proceed to fight out on the stage floor. Of course, she gets a couple good punches in. She throws something at him, runs off through one of the sets, which is conveniently her house. And then Ghostface conveniently goes through the same fucking closet door he did in Scream 1. Fun nod. runs up the stairs. She does the same thing, by the way, she did in Scream 1, where she runs up the stairs and throws something at him, and I think throws something else at him too when she gets on the top of the stairs. But when she gets up there in this movie, she pushes something else down. She goes into another hallway, opens up. Of course, there's a door that leads to nowhere. So she tricks Ghostface because he comes running through, opens the door, and she just grabs him and then yeets his ass down to the bed. Granted, that wouldn't have killed him, but still, that was nice enough to at least throw him on the bed. Like, I fucking love that shit. Just the fucking fact that she was that goddamn clever about that shit. But after she gets done throwing him onto the bed, she backs up, and of course everything goes quiet. She starts looking around, and she sees her mom's room. She hears her mom calling her. You know, so she starts going in and investigating. And of course, the scene set up for Maureen Prescott's murder. It's supposed to be a flashback scene, which we heard about in the script when Tom was ripping it up. And as she's going through this flashback scene, or she's going through the scenario, of course she's hearing the voice of her mother kind of taunt her a little bit, and she's screaming for Dewey. She's like, "Dewey, where are you, Dewey?" And then as soon as that happens, of course, we see the ghost mom pop up and he's like, "Give mommy a kiss," and then runs at her. And the assembly cut, by the way, the ghost says nothing, lunges at her. Of course, Sidney jumps out the window, lands, and then we get this nice cut of Ghostface taking off the costume of the mother's bag or whatever, and then running off. I really like that little added touch right there. But of course, after all that, Kincaid and everybody, turn on the lights. Everybody comes running through. Angelique, Tyson, Dewey, Gail, just everyone just comes rushing on through. And Sydney's having a fucking meltdown. She's like, "He's in the house. He's in the house." And it's almost like a repeat dialogue what she told Dewey originally in the first movie. Right? "He's in the house. He's upstairs." And of course, Kincaid's partner runs up there, takes a look around. And it's just like, "I see no one up here." And then there's a little added line to make him just more of a dick. And he's like, "Yeah, there's nothing up here. All I see is props." And he's holding up a dead body prop. And he's like fucking giving a salute or some bullshit. And he's just like, all right. And Dewey, of course, is apologetic left and right, by the way, because of the fact that she wasn't supposed to be in there. He even states that. He's like, "You're not supposed to be in there. That was set up for your mother's past death scene. I am so sorry, Sydney. Come on, let's get out of here. Come on." And they end up, escorting her out of the whole situation. And then, of course, fucking Kincaid's partner, as she's walking out, says this fucking line. "I think she's seen one too many movies." Just make him more of a dick, why don't ya? He is a double dick. They're getting her, they got Sydney outside, though, and they're arguing back and forth about what they saw. And, she's like, "He was in there. He was in Woodsboro." Sydney, "That's not Woodsboro." You know what I mean. He was there, though. "Sydney, we believe you. We know he's out there. We know he's looking for you. It's going to be okay." And he, gets her in the car and says, "Just be safe. I'll follow right behind you." As soon as they drive off, Gail and Jennifer shows up. They tell Dewey about the shit that they found out about Maureen Prescott being Rena Reynolds here, and she worked with Milton. So they're just like, "All right, well, let's go and try to investigate." So the gang and Dewey all go to Milton's office, where in the theatrical cut, we get to see the full piece of dialogue between Roman and Milton over here, where he's just like, "I'm a pariah. I don't even know what a pariah means, but that's what they're calling me. They're killing my cast. They're killing my movie over here." And he keeps going on and on. Now, we do get a bit of this dialogue in the assembly cut, but not the full argument here. Because the way the assembly cut works is, instead of cutting to at Milton's office where Raymond is bitching and shit, we see Dewey knock on the door, open it, going, "Hey, is anybody here?" And then we hear the conversation between them. But they go up there and they go to confront Milton, and he's just like, all right, guys, Raymond, why don't you go? Don't cut the cake without me. Oh my God, I forgot. It totally is your birthday, isn't it? Yep, and it just keeps getting better and better. Story of my life. Yeah, he's not having a good birthday. Obviously, not having a good fucking birthday. Man's having a bad day. But they asked, Milton, like, what do you know about Rena Reynolds? God, I couldn't tell you. I worked with hundreds, thousands of actors before. We never said she was an actress. Ooh, good point. I mean, I worked with a lot of people. I don't know anything. And then Dewey pulls out his cell phone. He's like, what are you doing? Nothing. I might just call Kincaid in here real quick. Oh, wait, Rena Reynolds. I remember her. Yeah, 2-bit, no acting actress. Yeah, she was in a couple of my movies. And that is when everything is laid out, where we find out that she came to Hollywood to become an actress, and being the 70s and 80s, Milton being the scumbag copycat of fucking Harvey Weinstein over here, took advantage of poor Marie. Like, seriously, like, people like him piss me off. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, people like him piss me off. You use your authority and shit to make people do what you want. That is some bullshit. But even he says it. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm well known for my parties. Everybody knows what my parties are like. It's for young women to meet other people so they can get in the roles. What happens between them? So what happened to Maureen while she was here in Hollywood? John? What happened to her? Nothing she didn't ask for, okay? Nothing that she didn't invite in herself. Alright, so maybe they got a little rough. Maybe things were taken too far. Maybe things were just a misunderstanding. But she got what she deserved. Like, straight up, motherfucker. Like, I'd have bitch slapped the shit out of you. What do you mean she got what she... What do you mean that she knew what was going on? No, I don't think she was aware of the fact that she went to this private screening room with you and your fucking friends, and y'all took advantage of her, and basically... I'm not going to say the word, but we all know the word I'm going to, we're all thinking here. And I'm not going to say it, but we're all thinking it. They don't say it in the movie, but we all know what they're implying here. And it's fucked up, and it's not cool, and people like Milton should just not be able to work, period, in Hollywood. Straight up. People like Milton are disgusting human beings. I'm kind of glad he dies at the end of this movie. Spoiler alerts, everybody. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention that at the beginning of this podcast. Spoiler alerts, everybody. You haven't seen a movie that came out well over 20 years ago. Spoiler alerts. But after he says those disgusting words, of course, Dewey's just like, how the hell do you sleep at night? Never alone. You're not a very nice person, are you? Nope. But that doesn't make me a killer. Hate to say it, it's true. That does not make him a killer at all. He can be a dick, but that doesn't make him a killer. Which, by the way, guys, that little bit of dialogue right there, you're not a very nice person, and how do you sleep at night? Assembly cut added lines. So, we go with fucking Sid and Kincaid as she's sitting down. In the assembly cut, she's by herself in the room, and she's looking around. She sees the books. She starts flipping through the books. In the theatrical cut, Kincaid's already in there. But Kincaid walks in, sits down. She's like, so what do you know about trilogies? What do you mean trilogies? Like horror trilogies? Yeah. All bets are off. All bets are off. And this is where we have a little bonding moment between Kincaid and Sydney, where they sit down and discuss, everything about, Maureen, what type of woman was she? How did you know her? Because throughout this whole movie, when she does talk about her mother, of course, it's like, why does she have all these secrets? Why couldn't she just be normal? Why did she have to do this? Very good questions here. And she even says, I used to know my mother. I used to think I had a perfect mom, a perfect family, and now I don't know what I know anymore. Life is just, it's not the same. And even Kincaid's just like, I agree with that. You know, I understand. It's a really nice bonding moment. I like this bit of character development. It shows a bit of a spark between them, but it gets you thinking. You don't know who the killer is about this. Like, why is he so interested in about her? Especially when you find out he's got a file on her. That's kind of creepy, but okay. So after they get done bonding a little bit and they talk about her mom and stuff, Kincaid gets up to go leave because he's like, all right, I believe you. I believe you about the ghost face. So I'm going to go back to the studio and check out the set and everything. You stay here. And she goes, hey, detective. Yeah? What's your favorite scary movie? And he leans in really close. I originally thought he was going to kiss her or something because he gets that close and personal like he's about to kiss her. But he leans in and he just goes, my life. And he walks off because, again, while they were bonding, he makes him mention the fact that all he sees in Hollywood is death because he's a homicide detective. That's all he sees. That's all he knows is just death and carnage. Which, as a homicide detective in the early 2000s in Hollywood, I'm sure you saw a lot of crazy shit. I'm sure there was a lot of crackhead energy going on out there. So I feel for him when he said the story of my favorite horror movie is my life. I believe him 100%. So after, you know, he ends up leaving and Sid says the same thing and she's like, yeah, me too. We get more dialogue between Dewey and Gail and Jennifer in the car, which originally, when we cut to the car scene, they're sitting there and they're just, chit-chatting about, what Milton knows. That clearly he's got to know more than what is going on. They get the cell phone call, from Sydney, air quotes, because we know it's Ghostface, saying, hey, I'm going with Kincaid. We're going to Milton's place. He called me. He wants to tell me stuff about my mother, yada, yada, yada. I'll feel better if you show up there. All right, cool. I guess we're going to the party. And drives off. In the assembly cut, however, you got Jennifer sitting there. Also, don't forget, in the theatrical cut as well, we have the whole little banner about, I'm about Gail Weathers. If this was me, Gail Weathers, my Gail Weathers would have done this, and they both told her to shut up. And then they get the phone call. Fucking love that. But this scene's great because it's more character development with Gail and Dewey. But Jennifer's just like, oh, what a slime ball. She just left Hollywood. I bet he stalked her. Normal people don't make horror movies. And you two, y'all are bad at this. When did y'all learn to investigate? He's on to y'all. He knows what y'all know. My Gail Weathers wouldn't have done this. My Gail Weathers would have done this different. My Gail, will you shut up? They both say it. They most beautiful time in sync, by the way. And then she starts to pout. She literally balls up with her legs up in her chest and leans back in the car and just pouts about it. Like I said, she has a childlike imagination going on for her or something. She's very childlike at some points. But after that, Dewey's looking at her, or Gail looks at her and goes, we want him to know what we know. If he is the killer, he would be crazy to go after Sydney. Per se, if y'all understand what I'm saying. And then, it's a little awkward silence, and Dewey looks at Gail and just goes, well, would you look at that? No camera, no entourage, no recording, and that is the best reporting I ever seen you do. Gail looks at him and goes, no badge, no uniform. The finest police work I've ever seen you do. Just a cute little moment. Why did you edit that out, Mr. Editor? Why? Why are you ruining my dreams of seeing Gail and Dewey happy? I don't ask for much in the Scream franchise. I never ask for much. Give me good kills. Give me a good ghost face. Let Gail and Dewey live happily ever after. That's all I care for. And you fucked me up on all accounts, man. So then, of course, they get the phone call from Sydney. And, of course, Sid tells them to meet at the Melton's house. And he looks at the girls and he goes, all right, girls, I guess we are going to that party. And they drive off towards the party. Now, there's another edit scene right here where we get them walking up to the house. And, of course, Jennifer's just like, so this is the house of horror that horror is built. And she spooks herself out a little bit. You know, I don't know why she's like on edge here, but she's on edge. Spooks everybody else, and they're like, "Will you stop that, please? Just stop that. Keep going. Let's go. Let's go." They walk into the house, and Roman's there, and he's got a fucking bottle of champagne. He's like, "Did I invite you? I don't think I invite you either." Fucking, you know, welcome to the party, man. Welcome to my wake. Come on in. We're in the theatrical cut. They went straight on into them walking into the house going, "We need to speak to Sydney. We need to talk to Sydney." And he's like, "Yeah, Sydney's right here." "No, not that Sydney." "What do you mean not that Sydney? You know how like I'm Gail and she's Gail? That kind of thing." "Oh, Sydney Prescott? No, I would never invite her here." "Well, she's on her way." And then they start talking about the house, and they're like, "Oh, this is old money. Yeah, this is big money." And then of course Tyson's just like, "How the hell did I end up on a?" I think this is what he said. It's kind of hard to hear this exact line, but he was talking about, yeah, and this man's so rich. How the hell did I end up on a scare plus 10 for this film? I'm not quite sure what the hell that piece of dialogue is supposed to be, like straight up, but again, just more Tyson lines. That's all I really need to know. And Angelique's acting very fucking suspicious, very weird. She's all like, "I like this house. This is a nice house. This is a cute house. An old money house." And then they make a comment about the screening room because he's just like, "Yeah, Milton said there's a screening room where he threw parties out all the time. And, you know, I wish I could find," because he even says he wishes he could find it. You know, the big ass screening room can't be that hard to find. But there's another little added piece of dialogue here between Jennifer and Angelique, where Angelique says, "I wish I could have seen those the screening parties," and Jennifer's like, "No, you don't. You don't want to be a part of that. But I guess you wouldn't mind that." Basically stating the fact that you wouldn't want to be part of being a victim in these situations, but a little nudge, 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 wink, wink. If Angelique would have been the fucking killer, that would have been the perfect line right there. But yeah, I see why they kind of cut that out, because of the fact that Angelique's not the killer. Sad days indeed. So after all this, you know, them going back and forth about, you know, why don't we, you know, go take a look for this? I want to say, yeah, okay, so it is Raymond. He's getting a little upset, and he's like, "What the hell with it? If Milton isn't on time for my party, I guess I'll go check this place out." And everyone's like, whoa, don't be splitting up. Have you not seen any of the stab movies, man? Because, again, this is coming from Tyson. This is coming from him. He's like, "Have you not seen the stab movies yourself? You know, people start splitting up, and then people end up dying." And then Jennifer's like, "Well, I'll go with you, Roman." And then Angelique looks at Tyson and is just like, "Oh, come on, we'll all go together." Which, by the way, they swapped those two lines around for some reason. I don't know why, but in the theatrical cut, we have Angelique saying, "We gotta stick together," and then Jennifer saying, I'll go with you, Roman. I don't know why they swapped those two lines around, but okay. So as Roman leaves, they ask Dewey and Gail, like, "Hey, do you want to come?" And they're like, No, we're going to stay here, wait for Sydney." Okay, well, Milton shows up, scream, "I'll be back," and then walks the fuck off. And, of course, another little added dialogue here between Dewey and Gail where they look at each other, and Dewey's just like, "I have a bad feeling about this." "Yeah, me too." So, after that, we didn't see Angelique, and this is like another little swap scene situation. Instead of going with Jennifer and Raymond down to the basement, we stick with Tyson and Angelique looking around at just the cool posters and everything around the house. And then we go back to Dewey and Gail as they're waiting around for Sydney and everything. And that's when they find the voice box and the ghostface mask, and they kind of panic as shit and go run off and leave. Hey, where's everybody to go find out? But like I said, they ended up swapping scenes around. So we got, after the Tyson, and Angelique looking upstairs, we go with Jennifer with Roman down to the basement where they go and investigate. And of course, he's just having a little bit fun at her expense. And she's like, "What's down there?" Zombies, ugly things. What you look like without makeup. Oh, stop pretending like you care. Stop pretending like you the best I ever have. Stop pretending like I remember. Will you stop pretending over here? And of course, Raymond looks around, sees something in the coffin. Of course, we have his fake death scene because we know he's the killer. I wish they would have added a bit more to his death scene. Maybe make it dramatic, have him throwing himself against a wall or something would have been cool. But no. We don't get that. So, like I said, after that, we have Dewey and Gale. They find the ghost face. Oh my god, Dewey's got all our voices. Yada, yada, yada. Let's go find everybody. And then, this is where we get another fucking difference over here. We switch up scenes yet again. So, in the theatrical cut, when they split up, we go with Dewey to go upstairs to go find Tyson and Angelique. And they're like, yeah, we lost Angelique. She went in here. She disappeared. I don't know where she's at. And then we cut to Gale back downstairs. And the assembly cut, we stay with Gale as she's looking for everybody. She gets to the basement door and she goes down there. It's very drawn out, very intense feel. She moves further down the stairs. Of course, she finds Raymond's dead body, air quotes, which, by the way, she must be bad at checking pulses because she checked his pulse and started freaking out like he was dead. So either she's really bad at checking pulses or he had a really good dummy or something. I don't know, either or. So, of course, she freaks out. They find the body. Jennifer's scared because some fucked up reason. Jennifer's just hiding in the basement behind some random props, just chilling out there waiting for someone to come find her. They freak out though. And, by the way, there's an added prop jump scare here for no fucking reason before she finds Raymond's body. When she's looking around, just a random prop just falls over and scares the shit out of her. But after they find the body, of course, they all run out. They go, freaking the fuck out. She runs out, though. And they run into Angelique, who's just like, oh my god, guys, I found this secret passageway. Come check this shit out. No, Angelique, we gotta go. We gotta go, okay? The killer is inside the house. We gotta go. And she's like, oh, fuck this shit. I'm leaving. She starts running off. And they're like, no, wait, you gotta stay with us. Stay with us. It's not safe. She turns around and she's just like, I did not fuck that pig Milton to die here with a bunch of second-rate celebrities like you two. And she runs off and leaving Gale and Jennifer to stare at each other like she did not just call us second-rate celebrities. And as Angelique's running down the stairs, she's like, y'all better get out of here. Y'all know it's safe. And then Ghostface, of course, attacks her. Now, I always thought her death was a little goofy, but again, it's supposed to be hammed up because she was supposed to be the second killer. But that never got to happen. So when she dies here, it's pretty much the same. Kind of silly, just her just, oh my god, oh. She's being stabbed in the back. Then we see Ghostface drag her body off. When Gale and Jennifer hear the noise and goes to investigate, they look over the stairs. And in perfect unison, they scream, run off. As they're screaming looking for Dewey calls them upstairs. Ghostface follows. And once they get upstairs, they're just like, oh my god, Angelique's dead. They got Raymond too. If we stay together, we should be safe, right? Yeah, we should. Why? And as soon as he says that, Ghostface comes out of nowhere, punches poor Dewey in the face for no fucking reason. Slapstick over here. They chase the girls to the bedroom. Tyson's still there. Tyson just goes, oh shit! And Ghostface takes a couple of swings at him. Dewey comes in. There's actually a pretty decent fight scene here. I'm not gonna lie. Really not much to this fight scene was added. It looks like they did cut out the line where Tyson's screaming for help, police help, as he's running out. But during this fight scene, of course, Dewey gets kicked in the face, Tyson gets stabbed in the gut, gets thrown across the room. Jennifer goes hide in the closet, finds a secret passageway. Gail becomes a boss-ass bitch, grabs the face, smacks it upside the head on Ghostface. A little trippy action happens. They end up circling around. And then Tyson gets up, runs out the door. Ghostface follows him. And this is where Tyson gets one of the best lines ever in this fucking movie. So as Tyson's running down the stairs, he's just like, oh, this motherfucker. And he starts booking it even further. Gets down the hallway. Of course, Ghostface becomes a cartoon-style motherfucker. Grabs the rug, trips Tyson up. And of course, in the theatrical cut at this point, Ghostface just grabs him, throws him against a glass cabinet, and then throws him out the window, and then just dips out. We don't get to see his body or anything. And the assembly cut, after being tripped, Ghostface comes up to him, right? Comes up to him. And as he's fighting off Ghostface, he's like, why you always gotta kill a brother in this shit? Again, token black guy character. That's all he is, it feels like. But damn it, man, that is a funny ass fucking line. Just, why does a brother always gotta get killed in this shit? Fucking Ghostface stabs him though a couple of times, then throws him up against the glass cabinet, and then throws him out the window, and we get to hear this beautiful audible crunch as he hits the ground, and we get to see his body from Ghostface's perspective for a second, and then Ghostface of course runs off. Love that shit. Fucking love that shit. We don't get to see his body too terribly much until, like, Sydney shows up, which I kind of get because they got to cut, you know, for the gore and shit. But come on, man. It was a body splat. It was a perfect body splat with the crunching sound and all. And we couldn't get the satisfied conclusion of that until later. So after that, we end up cutting to Jennifer, you know, trying to get out. She finds Ghostface, runs into him. She runs up the stairs. And of course, Gail runs in with Dewey, and she's like, Dewey, are you okay? Yes, just a flesh wound. Oh my God, where is everybody? Well, you know, Tyson ran down the hallway, and Jennifer went into the closet. I don't know where she's at. Which, I get why they cut that particular line, because that was too casual a conversation to have directly after being attacked by Ghostface. I'm not gonna lie, this is the only line I'm glad they cut out, because it just seemed way too casual and been too much of a funny moment to kind of break the immersion that was going on. But as that's going on, Jennifer is being attacked by Ghostface. She's like banging on the two-way mirrors in the bedroom. She's like, Dewey, help, help. And then she looks at the killer. She's like, you can't kill me. You can't kill me. I'm the killer in this movie. I'm the killer in Stab 3. And then, of course, Ghostface don't give a fuck. So Ghostface fucking stabs her. And then Dewey's just like, oh my God, look at the mirrors. Wait, hold on a second. Starts, you know, shooting the fucking mirrors pieces left and right. And Jennifer's body falls down. We get a good look at her. I don't know why we get a good look at Jennifer's body. We don't get one at Tyson. We don't see Tyson's or anything. But no, we get a good look at Jennifer's body. Poor Jennifer. And as Jennifer is fucking dead as shit, Gail screams like a little bitch for some reason. I've never seen Gail scream like this in a long time, but she screams. And then they take off down the hallway, go, we gotta get the hell up out of here. Let's search around real quick. And just be careful, only have one bullet left. And she's like, okay. And soon as they split off for a second, I think they're trying to find Tyson before they leave, because they don't know where Tyson went. They don't realize that Tyson's been killed, because nobody saw Tyson get killed except for Ghostface. But in the midst of this, Gail gets jumped by Ghostface, and it's a little bit of a longer fight scene between them, a little bit more like punches from Gail, you know, not really punches from Gail, because she's, you know, he came up from behind her, and he's got her by the mouth, and he's trying to stab her in the front and shit. So there's a bit of a struggle. They end up both falling down the stairs, rolling on down, gets knocked out. Now this is another good added moment here. In the original cut that we get, the theatrical cut, you know, Gail falls down the stairs. She calls Dewey. Dewey's just like, Gail, where are you? I'm in the basement. I'm trapped. Ghostface is here. And he goes to open the door and he's like, wait a minute. How do I know this is you and not the killer? I'm trapped in the basement. Just open the fucking door. That's exactly what the killer would say. And as soon as she's about to say something, Ghostface pops up, scares the shit out of her. Dewey opens the door, takes a shot, misses. Ghostface just grabs the knife, does that stupid fucking knife throw that I can't stand because it's so cartoonish. Hits Dewey upside the head. Dewey rolls down the stairs, gets unconscious. Gail goes over him, and she's like, "Oh my God, Dewey, you okay?" And then Ghostface just pulls out his spare knife, like he keeps one in his coat for this very fucking reason. In the assembly cut, however, when she calls him, and she's like, "I'm trapped in the basement," we get these nice cuts of her in the basement. Now, I will say, watching Ghostface kind of pretend to be knocked out for a minute was fucking hilarious, because the man's just like, "Oh my God," doing all this shit. It's fucking hilarious. But Gail, it's just like, "Dewey, I need your help. Please come help me, please." And he's just like, "Well, how do I know it's you and not the killer? Just open the door." Okay. Well, where was our first kiss? Dewey, we don't have time for this. Just tell me, where was our first kiss? In a ditch where we found Sydney's father's car at. Now open the goddamn door. Okay. Wait a minute. Anybody who's seen Stab 1 would know this. Okay, what were you wearing? Dewey, you know I don't give a fuck about that shit. Come on. If you were the real Gale would know how important this is, and the real Gale will be able to answer this question. Damn it, Dewey. Okay, I was wearing the and she actually describes her outfit from the first movie very well, by the way. Very well. But before she can go into any more detail, Ghostface pops up, scares the shit out of her. Dewey then opens the door, takes a shot, does the whole routine, gets hit by the knife, rolls down the stairs, and the fucking end. But I will say, what I thought was funny though, before she's like, "I don't remember this. It was 3 fucking years ago." But we then come back to the police station. We have Sydney just hiding out in Kincaid's office, and Sydney sees the file of her on the desk, starts peering through. And that's when she gets the phone call from Ghostface. But at first it's not her, it is just a random fucking voice. Let me phrase that. It's her voice echoing back at her. So she's, "Hello? Who is this? Dewey, Gale, whoever this is. I'm just hearing echo feedback, call me back." And then Ghostface comes in. He's just like, "I only hear you too, Sydney. I know how you don't like other people. You don't like hearing other voices. I know how you like being alone." Which, that is also an added line that was taken away from the theatrical cut. And I like that line. I like that, because that's more taunting. That is more malicious taunting from Ghostface that we don't get to see very often in the theatrical cut. So I do like this, but she's just like, she panics, she stands up, goes to, I guess inform the police department, "Hey, I got the killer on the line over here." And he's just like, "I wouldn't do that. You see, they're having a good time out there. They won't miss you. Is there a place we can go, that you can go, we can have a private conversation?" And he's just like, "Yeah, sure." She goes, "Yeah, sure." Walks the hell out into another room, closes the door, and he's like, "Oh, it must be so hard to be friends with you, Sydney. If they're friends with Sydney, they fucking die. And that's okay, though. They don't have to die, Sydney. They don't have to die. I want you. You show yourself, they live. You run, they die." Okay, just don't do anything, though. And then, of course, we hear Dewey and Gale, and she's like, "How do I know it's them? How do we know it's them and not the voices in your head? Not the voices pretending to be running in your head? How do you know?" And then, of course, Dewey says another epic line again. And, of course, she's like, okay, where do we meet up? Where do you want to go? And then he says, "Will you show yourself to me, Sydney, so I could show yourself to you?" I like that line. It's a very chilling line. Very chilling line. So, of course, Sydney's just like, "All right, just tell me where you need me to go." I'll call you. Which, by the way, I didn't get this line where he's like, I'll call you when you're closer. How the fuck is she supposed to know where to go if you're not gonna tell her? Like, what do you want to do? Just go into a car and start driving? Just a random direction? God forbid she went in the wrong way. God forbid she went west instead of east or some bullshit like that. Like, I didn't get that. I never got that. Just, what do you mean you will call her when she gets near? God damn it, man. But, of course, she's being smart about this. So before she goes, she grabs Kincaid's spare gun that she happens to know that he keeps in his desk, by the way. I guess she sees a lot of cop dramas. And no, cops keep spare guns in the back of their desk. But I will say, the difference between this particular scene and the theatrical cut is the only thing they added in the theatrical cut, or basically took out, instead of saying the cool line, will you show yourself to me, Sydney, so I can show yourself to you, he goes more about the fucking mother. Don't you want to know who killed your mother? Even though he says that in the assembly cut too, but still, we're really harping on those mother problems here. So there's an added scene after she leaves, and we actually get to see her leave the police station, where Kincaid's partner notices she's gone. He's like, where's our star witness? Sees the gun's gone, and goes, hell, why the hell they even let y'all watch her and whatnot? And then they go off, I guess, to go get Kincaid and let him know, hey, we got some problems, buddy. We got some fucking problems. So, after we get that moment, we cut to Sydney. She pulled up. Apparently, Ghostface called her at some point and just said, hey, go to Milton's house. She shows up at Milton's house, though. And as she's walking up, you hear, there's two different lines here. In the assembly cut, he says, hello, Sydney. Welcome to the final act. Which, I love that line. I love that line so much better than what he said in the theatrical cut. In the theatrical cut, he's just like, oh, good, you follow directions. Like, bitch, that's so underwhelming over here. In the theatrical cut, though, he's just like, welcome to the final act. Which makes sense, because at this point, there's 30 minutes left of the movie in the assembly cut. So it makes sense for this to be the final act. Good timing. Good timing. Good meta timing there. And, of course, he tells her, take that metal detector, check yourself everywhere. And, of course, she can't hide the gun forever. So he's just like, all right, throw it into the pool, come into the house. Well, how do I know they're not dead already? I'm not coming to the house. Check for yourself. So she leans over and she sees that, Dewey and Gail are tied up. So she runs into the house. And as she's running in, there's, again, different line right here. And this line is so fucking creepy, especially coming from Jackson himself. He says, that's a good girl. You want to know what your death will sound like? And then she hangs up the phone before we get the conclusion on that. And unfortunately, in the theatrical cut, all he says is, now that you're here, the party can begin. Kind of lame, I'm not gonna lie, especially compared to good girl, you want to know what your death sounds like? Kind of lame. So, of course, she goes in there. She tries to untie Dewey and them. She's like, where is he? Where's Ghostface? Behind you. Because, of course, Ghostface always is behind her. And Ghostface appears and, punches Sydney. She rolls over. And then this is where we get more added dialogue from the assembly cut. Now, at first, I thought this might have gave away too much information. Saying it's rather obvious Roman being the fucking killer. But if you think about it with the assembly, not just the assembly cut, but with the fact that Angelique was supposed to be the killer as well, it makes you think this could have been Angelique standing right here. Because he says, you look so much like her, Sydney. Same face, same eyes, same fears. I fought hard to get near this movie. I knew it would put me in touch with people who could put me in touch with you. I know someone who I could send you to me. A man in a mask. And now that you're here, you can watch your friends die. And this is great scene. This is great. This is fucking great. So after he says this, right? She goes, oh, well, can my friends watch too? Mr. Smith and Mr. Westman, my friends from home. And she pulls out a fucking gun. That line was cut because you can't say fucking Smith and Wesson guns, apparently. That's a no-no. You need permission. Who the fuck knew? So, she says that line, and says, "It's your turn to scream now, asshole," and goes to shoot him. Now in the assembly cut, actually before she shoots him, you hear him say Sydney, like he's about to say Sydney Wade or something like that. But of course he gets shot, and he goes down. Of course it's Ghostface. He never stays down for long, so he dips the fuck out, leaves and shit. And of course they go to untie him. They're like, "Oh my God, where'd he go? Where'd he go?" So Sydney goes to investigate. Kincaid walks in. She's like, "Kincaid, what are you doing here?" "What am I doing here? I heard there was a party. You were missing. What else would I be doing here?" Being very suspicious, making you think he could be the killer. But we all know, because this movie came out 20 years ago, he is not the killer. He's just a really nice guy. So, of course, he shows up and he's like, listen, Miss Prescott, I'm here to help. Is everything okay?" And before he can finish that statement, Ghostface appears behind Sydney. He goes, "No!" Pushes Sydney out the way. Of course, it's a really nice fight between them. Good fucking, couple of like fisticuffs going on. Fucking Sydney, she's hesitating whether to get the gun. Gail's like, "Shoot the bastard!" Fucking poor Kincaid gets punched in the face so hard he hits the edge of the damn fireplace and hits the ground. Sydney pops up, takes a shot at him, and of course it misses. The gun's empty, so she's like, "You want me, motherfucker? Come and get me," and runs off. And of course, Ghostface tries to go after her, and he fucking trips and falls because it's Ghostface. I mean, he's slapstick, why not? So, as they end up fighting and shit, Sid runs down the hallway, locks herself in a room, finds the secret room, opens it, gets in, shuts the door, and starts hearing her mother calling her. "Comes in, mother. Mom can protect you. Mom can do this. Mom can do that." Now, in this assembly cut, I originally thought it was a, editing choice not to have the Ghostface voice lines, because you'll notice in the assembly cut when Dewey and Gail find the voice box and she goes to use it, they didn't edit in the extra voices, so it's just Courtney Cox talking as Gail Weathers in the box. So we originally thought maybe this was them not having to edit in, the Ghostface voice yet. Which is very interesting, by the way. Him betraying Ghostface, just wearing the mask and not having the voice, sounds very off-putting. But after this, I will say, in the assembly cut, Ghostface just shows up as Ghostface. He's wearing just the Ghostface attire. In the theatrical cut, he comes in wearing the mom's garb, the little dead body bag thing. Talking shit, "I can't protect you, I'm a horrible mother," and blah, 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 and more mommy issues and all that shit. And, of course, Sid's panicking in the assembly cut, so she's trying to open the doors, and he's just like, as soon as so originally when he walks in, he goes, "Hi, Sid." It says hi. "How you doing, Sid?" Like, so casual. How's it going, Sid? What's up? You doing all right? You having a good time at my party? Are we having a good time? I'm having a good time. And, of course, she starts panicking. He's like, "You're not going anywhere, Sid. You should know better, by the way. Never to turn your back on a dead slasher. Might as well give them CPR." Like, straight up, I love that line. He makes a good point, though. Never turn your back on a dead slasher, because they're never actually dead. But, of course, he eventually, after she's like, "Who are you?" "I'm the other half of you. He says, "I'm the other half of you, her own son." And he rips off the mask, and of course it's Raymond. We're all supposed to gasp and all like, "Oh, Raymond, you're supposed to be dead." Like, that's a big fucking shocker. Like, seriously, we learned so much in Scream 1 about how people fake their deaths here. And, of course, he's just like, "Roman Bridges, director, stab 3. Yeah, that's what he says in the assembly cut. Now, in the theatrical cut, of course, it comes out, and he goes, "It's time for you to come to terms with me and Mother, Sydney." And of course, he bitches about mommy issues. I knew Rena Reynolds. I met her, I wanted to find her. I spent all these years looking for her, and when I found her all those years ago, I thought she was going to welcome me with open arms, but she turned her back on me. She was cold. How could she do this to her own son? Rips off mask, looks at Sydney and goes, Richard Bridges, director and brother. Like, bro, we've already established you are the brother. If you're talking about Maureen being your mother, it doesn't take a fucking genius to figure out you're her brother. I guess he wanted to hold her hands throughout this journey. But then we didn't have another little scene swap here, where instead of continuing on with Roman and Sydney talking, we see Dewey and Gail trying to get untied here. No, this ain't a scene swap. I do apologize. This is an added scene. As they're trying to get untied, of course, she's just like, a little to the left, Dewey, just almost there, a little faster, faster, faster. And then Dewey just, you know you're right. It's like we never did break up. Fucking love that shit. But, of course, they eventually do break free, but that's later on. We then cut back to Raymond telling Sydney about how he made these movies, about how he followed Maureen everywhere. Because she stated that Reno Reynolds is dead and her son doesn't mean anything to her. And he's just like, oh, well, that was exciting. That got me thinking. So I started following her, started making my home movies. Now, Cotton was one thing, but also many guys. And then Billy's dad? Yes, Billy's dad. He sits down all proud of himself, like he's done, like he is the mastermind of this entire movie franchise. Which pisses me off, by the way, to no extent. I like the fact that Billy just did it on his own, that he was just that mad about Sydney's mom doing this and fucking over his life. Finding out that this motherfucker pushed Billy to do it kind of negates Billy as a cool fucking killer. He needed persuasion and pushing. Like, granted, it didn't seem to push that much. But here's where the assembly dialogue really adds into what should have been the final cut with Angelique being the killer. Where he says, as soon I showed this to Billy, and he did not like this. He was not happy with this. But all he needed was just some pointers, a partner to take the ball on, someone to frame. Like he was making a movie. Right there. A partner to frame. Angelique would have been a perfect fucking person to frame this all on. She had the motive. She had the reasoning. She had the whole reason to be another killer. Like, hell, and fucking Raymond could have played her. Just could have been like, hey, you do this shit for me. You could be bigger than Sidney Prescott. You could be the Prescott. They will be making movies about you. They really could have just fucked with her that way. But no, they cut that shit out. So unfortunately, we never get that actual satisfying conclusion for that. And, then for some reason, we cut back to Dewey and Gail getting untied and whatever. And what I mean by for some reason, I don't know why, but in the theatrical cut, after they get untied, Dewey just stands up with Gail and they run over to Kincaid and like, Kincaid, are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine. Take my gun. Go. I'm calling in for backup. And the assembly cut, Dewey unties Gail and they kiss. They fucking kiss. I love it. The passionate roar of the kiss is just so beautiful. Love it. So then they run over there, talk to Kincaid for a minute, and Kincaid's just like, yeah, I'm calling in for backup. And they go in and try to find, where Sydney and all them are at. We then cut back to Raymond and Sydney talking. And she's just like, you got what you wanted. The hero and the villain face to face. And now it's time for you to die. And he's just like, exactly. That's the point, Sydney. But you're the villain. And he grabs Milton out of the closet. And he's just like, yeah, Milton, pulls out this little recording, and of course it's like a makeup voicemail where it's just like, I know what you did to my mother, you fucking pig, I'm gonna make you pay. This is the voicemail they're gonna be leaving next to his dead body that the cops will hear. You had the perfect motive here. He took your mother's innocent. He deflowered her. He fucked her 3 ways from Sunday. Which, by the way, that is an added line to the theatrical cut. Yeah, don't ask me why the theatrical cut got rid of so many great lines just to have that reference of he fucked her 3 ways from Sunday. That pisses me off. That's a stupid fucking line and everybody knows it. But, you know, of course, you know, he's got Milton here, and he's, you know, he's just like, he fucked her. So, you know, it would look good for you to kill him. You know, you hate him, don't you, Sydney? You hate him. And, of course, he takes the tape off the guy's mask. He's like, Raymond, I'll do whatever you want, whatever script, whatever movie. You know, you got all say in it. It's all good to go. And he's just like, I already got a movie. And he slits his throat, and he throws him down on the ground, which, by the way, apparently the actor who played Milton got hurt during that scene. Apparently he got hit a little, he pushed him a little too hard, and I think he landed on his arm wrong or something. Very bad. He's okay though, but it still fucking sucks. Don't worry, he's not the only person who got injured on this movie. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. So, you know, after that, he just tells Sydney how it's all going to be played out, and she's just like, the police will know it's you. Rena's son doesn't exist. And if he did, he would be 27. And the world knows I'm 30, Sid. Like, I shit you not. That's a real fucking line from this assembly cut. I'm 30, Sid. Like, we had to know this shit. Like, you had to. You really thought this shit all the way through. Which I like this, though, because it shows you he thought this shit all the way through. But then we cut to, in the theatrical cut, these two scenes are swapped around. So instead of hearing him bitch, and mainly when he's doing the scene about Milton, he's bitching about more mommy issues. There's an added scene of Gail and them walking closer to the door. They get to the door, about to break it down, and they're like, okay, on 3, push, and then fucking, take down the door, and they're looking around. And then we cut to, again, back inside the room with Sydney and Roman, and as he's whining about his mommy issues, I hate his monologue. The monologue in theatrical cut fucking sucks because he's just a whiny little bitch. It's worse than Billy. Like, Billy, I can get behind his whininess. Mrs. Loomis, I can get behind her whininess. This motherfucker needs to get over it. I'm sorry, you're 30 fucking years old. Yeah, you met her 3 years ago. She turned you away. You know what you do to that? Alright, I don't need you in my life. I didn't need you for the first 27 years. I don't need you now. That's how you deal with that situation, Roman. That's how you do it. You don't just plot an entire plan and and set a plan in motion to get a whole bunch of fucking people killed. Like that, man, that's some petty ass shit, man. That's some petty ass shit over some mommy issues. Just some petty ass shit. Because of you started Billy, and fucking Tate died, Stu died because Stu had his own upcoming bringing because he was the killer. But the point is, Stu died. Fucking Randy ended up dying. We had Cotton die in the beginning of this movie. Like, we had too many fucking people die, man. Too many people died because of you. You deserve nothing in life, especially for getting Randy killed. You deserve nothing. I will never let that go. Hashtag justice for Randy. But as he's bitching and complaining about his mommy issues, of course he says the epic line. And not really epic, but it's like, of course, mommy issue line from hell and back. Everything you have, Sydney, should be mine. The mother, the life that you have should be mine. And of course, Sydney's tired of this shit. She's just like, will you shut the fuck up and just get on with this? I've heard this story before. And this is an added line to the assembly cut. Blame the movies, blame the parents, blame the whole goddamn world but yourself. You know why you like killing? Because you enjoy killing. Of course, Raymond's arguing like, shut up, shut up, shut up. You enjoy it, man. Just shut the fuck up. And he punches her, and this is where the fight starts, right? So here's where it's different from the theatrical cut. So in the theatrical cut, of course, as they're fighting, he gets the upper hand on Sydney. He, beats the shit out of her, almost stabs her on the bars, chokes her out to the point that the only thing that saves her is Dewey, for some fucked up reason, just grabs a pair of tweezers and just goes, to an electrical outlet. Like, it's never explained in the theatrical cut why he just, to an electrical outlet, but the lights go out. And then, of course, the fucking, Raymond's panicking. He's looking through everything. He's just like, oh my God, what do I do? He's hearing Gail and Dewey's voice, trying to get in. And then you hear Kincaid at the door. And of course, he's like, Sydney, you all right, Sydney? And he picks the locked door and he opens up and Kincaid walks in. He's like, oh my God, Sydney, you okay? And she gets up, and before she can say, behind you, he gets knocked out unconscious yet again. I don't know what his whole purpose in the scene was and why it's in the theatrical cut, but okay. We brought him back just long enough for him to get knocked out again. Good for you, man. Good for you. So as, he gets knocked out, Sydney, of course, stands up, and she's got his knife. She says, did you lose something? I found something. He grabs Kincaid's gun, he shoots her. She goes down, he stands up, he shoots her again, and of course she rolls over, playing dead, because, we all know the secret plot twist here. She's wearing a bulletproof vest. But as he's sitting there, and as she, he's standing over her, hang on a second. Again, because I'm trying to do both cuts here, I gotta find my notes for the theatrical cut, so hang on one second. Okay, so after he shoots Sydney, he then hears more Gail and Dewey trying to get in. Don't you hurt her, you son of a bitch. You do, I'll fucking kill you. Get in through this door. Try this hallway. He panics, noticing Sydney's done just fucking appeared. So he starts looking around. He's like, where the fuck she go? So he decides to get this idea to star 69 her. So he pulls out his cell phone. At the same time she pulls out her cell phone, star 69, she beat him to it, called him first. She gets up, stabs him in the back with an ice pick that she picked up after she disappeared. This is where somebody else got hurt. This actor right here who's playing Roman got actual stabbed with an ice pick. She didn't mean to, but she accidentally missed the padding on his shoulder where he was supposed to get stabbed. Completely missed it. Got him in the actual back. Poor dude, man. He had to go. I think it took him 2 months to finish the rest of the ending because of that. But after he's on the ground, he's just like, I shot you. And she shows off the bulletproof vest, and he's just like, or she's like, I guess we think alike. He replies with, Mother is dead, and nothing you can do about that. I still made my movie. You said it's called Stab 3, right? She grabs the ice pick and stabs him again. And of course, as he stabs, just hanging there, and then, Dewey and them bust in. Of course, Kincaid's on the ground, so Gail's like, oh my God, Kincaid, are you alright? And for some reason, Roman grabs Sydney's hand, holding her, and, just intensely, and then won't let her go. Now, we're going to stop right there and go back to the assembly cut, because this is where, that's where they end up coming back together. So, during the assembly cut of this shit, Sydney's a boss-ass bitch. I'm not going to lie. She does not take a punch like a bitch at all. Like, Alright, so they're duking it out, right? He takes a punch, she gets a punch, he gets another punch, she gets 2 punches in. It is a back and forth moment. She gets a good fucking sucker punch into him, grabs the chair, and in the theatrical cut, when she grabs the chair, he trips her up. She drops the chair, and then he gets a couple of punches in and chokes her out. And this one, she actually grabs the chair and hits him upside the head with it, knocking him out for all of like 2.7 seconds. And as she goes to reach for the gun, he pops up and kind of pushes her back with his foot. So a good kick to the face almost. She falls back, rolls over, disappears. He gets up. And he's like, Sydney, where'd you go? This room is locked. There's nowhere for you to go. So why don't you just pop on out? Let's end this shit. And she's all quiet and shit. She's, sneaking around. Now, I forgot to mention this, before she starts sneaking around and shit. Remember, the lights go out, right? Dewey makes it make more sense. Because they can't get into this damn room. Dewey grabs the pair of tweezers, and Gail's like, Dewey, what the hell are you doing? Oh, what's his exact line? What is his exact line? I want to make sure I say his exact line correctly. Hang on. My notes are all over the place. Again, do you know how hard it is to organize notes when you're literally comparing scene by scene on the same fucking page? I got so many little lines everywhere and little arrows pointing everywhere. My organization skills were not on point today. What? Because he says a really cool line. Oh, here it is. As he goes to put the tweezer into the electrical outlet, Gail's like, what are you doing? He says, he can't kill what he can't see. Sticks it in, boom, all the lights go out. Now that makes more sense. That makes more fucking sense. It makes Dewey look like a genius IQ move right there. Compared to Dewey just, well, I'm going to stick these tweezers into this outlet and see what happens. Clink. That's exactly what he did in the theatrical cut. And the fucking assembly cut, that's like a 10,000 IQ movement right there. But after the lights go out, and then she disappears, and she's crouching around, sneaking and shit. She grabs this ice pick, and he's going on about her. He's flipping pillows and covers over, flipping chairs. I don't know about the chair, but I know pillows and covers though. He does not like pillows and covers. And Sydney grabs her phone, star 69's him, calls him. His phone rings. He looks down, she pops up from behind the bar, stabs him, and he falls down. And as he's on the ground, bleeding out with the ice pick, she just looks at him and goes, stab 3, right? And fucking stabs him in the chest again. Like, I love the part where we just cut that bullshit about, well, mother's still dead. Like, I don't give a shit about your mother issues, man. We know you have mommy issues. We know she's dead. Get the fuck over it, you little bitch. And that's why I do not like Raymond as a fucking killer. He is a bitch. He's a fucking bitch. Not even a cool bitch. He ain't like a boss-ass bitch. No, he's a regular-ass, skinny-ass, stupid-ass bitch with mommy issues. So, after the stabby part, and all that wonderfulness, I'm not gonna lie, that was fucking wonderfulness. Of course, Dewey and Gail come back in, and they're like, oh my god, it's Raymond. And of course, Kincaid's not here, so, we just skip straight to this, the next part with, Ghostface holding her hand. They're having this awkward eye contact for some strange ass reason. And, of course, Dewey's just like, Sydney, be careful. Randy said that these guys are superhuman. The other thing, anything but cutting off his head is not going to kill him. Nah, Dewey. He isn't superhuman at all. So she says that fucking Raymond pops up, because apparently she should have stabbed him in the face instead of the fucking chest with a bulletproof vest. Because he even shows that off before he reveals his mask earlier, that he's got a bulletproof vest. Did y'all remember that shit? But he goes to stand up and starts screaming, and Dewey just starts unloading into them. And you just hear Sydney go, Dewey, the head, shoot the head, shoot the head. And he's like, oh, right. Shoots him in the head. And there's another little fun added dialogue moment. Fucking, everyone's just like, good job, Dewey, good job. Yeah, thanks. I always wanted to do that. you doing? You've always wanted to shoot somebody in the head? Goddamn, bro. You alright? You good? You need to talk about this? Do we need to get on the big comfy couch and sit and talk about this? But after that, we then cut to, of course, the ending of the movie where Sydney's all happy. She's la 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 la, no more Ghostface in my life. It's officially over. Until the fourth movie, of course. But it's officially over. And she's opening up the doors, and we got Gail and Dewey. Dewey comes out there and walks up to Gail on the porch, and it's like, oh, she's doing great. Like, looking at a child they helped raise. She's doing so great in life. Yes, she is. Hey, do you mind signing this? And of course, it's a copy of the book, The Woodsbury Murders. And she's like, you hate that book. I know, but, you know, with everything going on, would you just sign it? She's like, okay, yeah, sure. Grabs it, opens it, and of course, it's the fucking wedding ring. Oh my God, it's the ring. And she looks at it. And this piece of dialogue came from Gail. Apparently, this was cut out and just give straight to Dewey for some reason. But she's like, you know it won't work out, right? I know it won't, and you know it won't work out. But let's see if we're wrong. And then they kiss, and then this is another little added fucking moment that just more character moment, more character development, where they're really hammered in their fucking love. She says, I love you. And all he says is, it's about time. And then kisses her again. God damn it, man. That's some nice, passionate shit right there. Just, I love you. About fucking time, bitch. Make out with me. Love it, though. So, you know, as they're kissing, Sydney, like I said, she ain't afraid of shit anymore. She ain't afraid of no ghosts. We're walking in, leaving the door open, not putting the security passcode in, opens her kitchen door, and of course Kincaid's coming in. She's like, hey Sid, we're watching the movie. Oh, what kind of movie? Well, you got to come and check it out yourself. Come on. And of course Gail and Dewey walk in. Now she's walking out, the front door just breezes on open. It kind of sits there and she stares at it and looks at it, just smiles and walks off in the movie. I know, I went on a very big tangent about this, but I really wanted to go scene by scene here about what was different, what was added, what really made the movie, especially the assembly cut, a hell of a lot better than the theatrical cut, what really added to the movie, all the character development, especially with Sydney and how she felt about Ghostface, the aggressiveness of Ghostface, fucking Gail and Dewey, man. Like, Gail and Dewey, all gone from the theatrical cut, just tossed out in the wind like yesterday's news. This is terrible, terrible. But I do agree with my buddy Bidwell. The assembly cut is a hell of a lot better. From beginning to end, it is fantastic. Absolutely love it. 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend Scream 3 Assembly Cut if you were going to watch a Scream 3 movie. The Assembly Cut, hands down, I would definitely watch. Now, I know I've gone on way longer than usual, but, you know, like I said, I wanted to go scene by scene, tell you exactly what scenes were added, what was taken away, what exactly was the dialogue and everything, and what I personally liked about it, and what I didn't like about it and everything. But I'm going to go ahead and end this podcast here. I hope everybody who has watched is watching will watch. I hope you enjoy. I hope everybody has a fantastic and a wonderful night. And if you're watching this video here on YouTube or anywhere else, such as Anchor or Spotify, don't forget, guys, get this video a like, subscribe, and quite possibly a comment down below, because you never know what's going to happen here. Trust me, I never know. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do next week. Don't worry, I'll be back on a proper schedule next week when it comes to the podcasting. Again, my entire schedule was set ablaze because one man needed to do laundry, and it just ruined the rest of the week. So remember, guys, do your laundry over the weekend. Just do your laundry over the weekend. But next week, I probably want to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre since the game has come out. and it's been a good minute since I sat down and watched the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I thought it'd be a fun video, not a versus thing, but, you know, talk about the movie and then talk about what the game kind of took from the movie and what they added and shit. I don't know. I'll think of something when it comes to it, but I do want to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Of course, we got a couple of awesome horror movies that have come out that I want to talk about, such as Talk to Me. I heard that's really, really good. And, of course, we got The Nun, too. So I could talk about the Conjuring franchise. I'm a big fan of the Conjuring franchise. Not much as some of the spin-offs. Looking at you, Abigail. Yeah, the origin story of Abigail. Yeah, not the cool, not the cool origin story, but the first Annabelle movie. Yeah, that one was lame. Now Annabelle Creation, that one was good. But that is a story for another day. So until then, my friends, y'all take care.